mean,
yeah.
And by the way, just
By the way, Vegas, not very good.
no, 3.5. No. What do they know? And at times it was 4, but it settled at 3.5. Right.
What do they
Three and
know?
a half. No.
I mean, we get 50% of that tonight. I'm happy.
I'll tell you what, though. I think, I don't know if we're going to get the final 7 minutes, but I actually think the first 50, that's how I think OU, Oregon, Indiana's going to go. I think it's going to be a slugfest.
I still can't believe Miami never got to him.
One sack, the sack on the first or second series on the blitz up the middle, and that's it. Yeah. Which, by the way, goes back to Ryan Day had a bad day. I mean, Ole Miss took a look at the tape and said, "Well, we'll figure something out."
Right. That's a good call.
I mean,
good call.
And ticket prices for the national championship game are going to be ridiculous.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on a Football Friday.
Football Friday!
Which got off to a great start on Thursday. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. I wanted to hold that like every second for how long it's been since the Canes have played for the national championship. But they will do so in a little more than a week. I'll be damned. By the way, that was a good game, Mr. Miller.
You know what? It was a really good 3 quarters, and it was an epic final 5 minutes. For all of the bitching and moaning people have done the last couple of years about the way games have gone in the playoff and what have you, first off, this player, the last round delivered some really good games, and last night was sensational. Absolutely sensational.
I mean, I'm glad Miami won. I wanted to see them playing for the national championship. But, boy, that Chambliss kid is fun, huh?
Yeah, that was the 60th ranked quarterback in the portal for what it's worth.
Right.
It just, it does show you can find talent in a lot of places. And if they weren't playing Miami, I would have been rooting for he and them. He's a Michigan kid. He went to Ferris State, a D2 school, who's had a ton of success, by the way. They're very good at their level. But to go from that level to being a throwaway for playing for the national championship is amazing in and of itself.
Yeah, it's a good thing Beck scored with 18 seconds left and not 28 seconds left, because that might have been enough time.
Man, what a game.
Yeah, he and they were good. And something we had talked about. Now, first off, Miami was the boxer who just threw a bunch of body punches. And eventually at the end, I mean, the Ole Miss D, they were game, but the defense didn't have a whole lot left in the tank the last couple drives, because Miami ran nearly 90 plays. I mean, Miami, even in the third quarter when they didn't score, they kept the ball and they just the body punches accumulated. But Mark, we talked about it, you know, 50 snaps. 50 snaps. A defense has about 50 snaps in them. And once you get to me, I thought Ole Miss turned the tide when they had that 14 play, 86-yard field goal drive. And that they went in there and they body punched Miami. And the Miami defense was not the same after that drive. They were that got them to 50 snaps, by the way, that drive. Okay, and the Miami defense in the fourth quarter, they didn't have a lot left.
Well, no, and while they played well before that, one of the things that stunned me is that they never got to Chambliss. One sack, and up until that sack, there was hardly a pressure. They showed the graphic at one point, the 27 combined sacks and pressures in the first two games, and at that point, they'd only had one pressure in the entire game. So give it up to Ole Miss and Charlie Weiss Jr. and the way they designed their offense for that game, because Miami, we all know, is terrific at the line of scrimmage, and they blocked Miami all night long.
Yes, they did. Reuben Bain had one tackle, and I don't know if he had a pressure. I mean, and Miami had the one sack, and it was the blitzing linebacker up the middle on the second series of the game. I mean, that was it, or maybe the first series of the game. I mean, that's it. Yeah, Ole Miss did a great job, by the way, which showed how bad of a job the Ohio State coaching staff did, quite frankly, because you don't think Ohio State's players could block the Miami players? All right, do you think maybe Ohio State's scheme wasn't the right scheme? We talked about it. You got to give some help on those ends. You got to help. They're really good. They're going to get drafted on Thursday. On Thursday, those guys are getting drafted on Thursday. You need to help block them. Ole Miss found a way. That was fun. That was a great chess match. That was exciting. Every time Ole Miss took the lead, Miami answered with a score. In fact, every time Ole Miss scored, Miami answered with a score, with the exception of the field goal to end the first half. I mean, it was, if that was a boxing match, Mark, first off, it felt like 15 rounds. It felt like back in the day.
It really did. And it felt like 15 rounds from back in the day. And I know we make a lot of old references on here, but we won't bother to do that. But it had that feel of an old school boxing match, and really an old heavyweight fight where rounds 13, where maybe rounds 8 through 12, they're kind of getting a little lethargic. And all of a sudden they find a new burst of energy in round 13, 14, 15. Because those final 7-8 minutes will go down as some of the best we've ever seen. That was terrific. And the thing that I would say, David, from Miami's standpoint, and I mentioned this to you briefly before the show, and I understand why Carson Beck got the offensive player of the game. He missed a bunch of throws. He had some guys who made some good catches. And the other side, Miami got a little loose with the discipline. Some late hits that cost them a bunch of, the back-to-back jumps, the right guard jumps a couple of times. They had another procedure penalty. I mean, I think Miami can still clean things up from that game, David, and they played really well.
And they're going to have to, because the team they're going to play in a week and a half is better than the one they just snuck by, whether it's Indiana or Oregon. But
the other side is that the Miami offense that hadn't really done anything in the first two games, well, last night it did.
And it was asked of. And was Beck worth the $4 million now? They're playing for it all. I mean, and this is where I think it came through. He's not the best quarterback. He wasn't the best quarterback on the field last night. But that experience came through. The poise he had, that was a 15-play, 75-yard drive to win the game. He kept it together. And they faced a couple of third downs, and he made good throws on third down.
It's a great point, David, because his best performance of the night was on that final drive. His best throws were, with the exception of the bomb touchdown. But, I mean, you're right. He made some terrific throws in the right spots. So it's a great call. Beck was terrific on that last drive.
Yeah, pointed out in our Twitch chat room, though, and YouTube chat room, if you're Miami, if you get your hand on as many passes in a week and a half as you did last night, you may want to catch them.
Four.
Okay? Yeah, the DB, I can see the drills this coming week for the Miami DBs. They're going back to the jug and catch the ball, boys. Catch the ball.
Yeah, the jugs gun and the tip drill, David. Those will be big for the Miami defense. But the Canes emerge. They are one half of the national championship. We will find out which Big Ten team that they play tonight. Indiana and Oregon, Peach Bowl for a shot at the Canes at Hard Rock. That's right. Miami's coming home. Get your tickets and bring your wallet.
Now, Ole Miss was so good last night, and I don't want to in any way denigrate their performance. But we talked leading into the game, would the outcome of this semifinal have legs heading into the offseason in terms of conferences sticking their chest out? Who's the best, who's the deepest, etc. Because this is the bottom line, Mark. This is the bottom line. The SEC against Power 4 schools went 1-8 in the bowl games. 0-3 in the playoff against other Power 4 teams, not in the SEC. Think about it. Alabama beat Oklahoma. Ole Miss beat Georgia. Third straight year, SEC not in the championship game. Does that matter? Will this affect preseason polling? Mark, your point about, we do a lot of rankings based on recruiting rankings, portal rankings, amassing of talent. Well, first off, imagine if Indiana's the one that wins tonight. There ain't a 5-star kid on that team. I don't know how many 4-star kids there are on that team. And they're going to be the undefeated team, number one in the country and the favorite playing for the national title. I mean, is this season and how the end of it is playing out, is this going to get us to look at things differently in this sport? We'll see. Don't know.
We'll see. I want you to be more right than wrong with that statement, but given the fact that the SEC is in bed with the voices of college football, I don't know how likely it is.
Well, and as pointed out in our Twitch chat room, they got this thing called the draft.
Right.
And when all the SEC guys are going Thursday and Friday, that could be the best thing that the SEC has had going for them in quite a while. But for the first time in 23 years, the Canes, it's all about the U. And they'll be playing for the national championship at home.
All right. You've said it for a couple of days now that no matter who won Ole Miss, Miami, their opponent would be favored. I will give you the floor here in our final 30 seconds of our first segment. Predict the lines: Indiana, Miami, Oregon, Miami.
Indiana 4.5, Oregon 2.5.
I think it's more like Indiana 2.5. I think it's a pick 'em if they play Oregon. Miller and Moulton. We will talk a little sport business on the show. We will talk the NFL with Pat Kirwan. But when we come back, ding dong, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, Sonny, they did not swallow the whistle on their last play. I think I know you're older. You've been watching football. How many times have you seen an interference call on a Hail Mary pass? And the referee they had in the booth explained it perfectly. Perfectly. David, I have the Jags as a 1.5 favorite right now. I got to see what Hard Rock says. I just don't.
I have the Bills a 1.5 favorite. I have Green Bay a 1.5 favorite.
Yep, I have Green Bay a 1.5 favorite. I have the Pats 3.5. I have Houston 3.
Yeah, Philly 5.5.
Yeah, and 10.5 on the end.
10.5. Yeah, so for what it's worth, I've got Packers Bills 1.5 favorites on the road. But I've got DraftKings is who I've got.
Yeah, I've got Jacksonville, even on the Hard Rock, as a 1-point favorite.
Okay.
This one, San Francisco's Philly's down to 5. Chicago Green Bay is 1. I mean, I've been using the score app all year for our bets.
Right.
So I'm not going to change it. So I'm going to take my 1.5 with Buffalo. The question is, do I pick all of them or do I just pick 5? I think I pick them all, David.
Might as well. So the lines we're going to go with is Green Bay -1, but Jacksonville -1?
No, 1.5 on both. That's what I'm at. The thing that I've used all year for lines is 1.5.
So Green Bay -1.5, Jacksonville -1.5?
That's correct, David. By the way, and I don't know if Tankathon's mock is worth a damn, but I'm just saying the first SEC player on this list is pick 11. Now they have 11, 12, 16. They've got Ty Simpson 21. Are you kidding me?
Who takes him?
The Pittsburgh Steelers. Bunch on the back end, though. The last four are all SEC. What am I listening to on my headphones? The ones I have in right now, or do you mean musically? I don't get what the question is. I'm listening to the show and David on the headphones. It's how I listen to the show. But if you're asking me from a new music standpoint, I don't know if I'm listening to much new music. The new music that I get is a lot of the time off of Spectrum on Sirius. Sonny, are you really? I mean, your complaint, your thought on that game is that game had a missed pass interference call in the end zone of a call that we never see, and a referee explained really well why they didn't call it. I mean, do you just hate Miami, or what's the story?
Also, remember, it's college football. Even if they call it, it's 15 yards.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, Pat Kirwan, 8 a.m. Eastern. Got a lot to talk with Pat about. Also, major story, which we'll get to at some point. FanDuel Sports Network is apparently going belly up. They televised 29 NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball teams' games. Now, the NBA and NHL seasons are obviously halfway done. So the thought is these networks are going to stay through the rest of those seasons. But the baseball season's about 10 weeks away, and there's 9 teams that could very well be looking for new places to have their games air, including the Rays and Marlins. We'll talk about it with Kurt Badenhausen of Sportico in a little more than 2 hours' time. But we're celebrating. It was a great South Florida sports day, wasn't it? The Canes won, and Mike McDaniel got fired.
I don't know what took them so long. David and I would have done it mid-season. And yes, they played better the second half when they were done. But
Right.
It was time.
Well,
It was time.
it is interesting, the national narrative versus the local narrative. And I don't know, Mark, if you and I qualify as the local narrative, but we're a lot closer to it than the national scene is. And we know how much Dolphin wanted him gone. You know, you and I had come to the conclusion that, yeah, in some ways he's better as a coach than he was, but we just came to the conclusion he wasn't good enough. They need to do better, and they need to do different, and they need to start now. Now, are we going to go by what it is we're being told, that Stephen Ross met with Mike McDaniel on Tuesday and that he wrestled with it for 36 hours and that ultimately he decided, yeah, I can't bring him back? You know, the other thing that has happened in the last 72 plus hours is, you know, they were talking to general manager candidates. How many of those people were saying, I'm comfortable taking over and giving Mike another year versus how many of them were saying, no, I want my own guy. This job doesn't interest me if I'm saddled with McDaniel. We don't know the answer to those questions. The national narrative seems to be totally not taking that into consideration. I listened to NFL radio yesterday. They were like, he's a better coach than he was 4 years ago. They won, what was it? They were 2-7 at one point, finished 7-10. So he went 5-3 down the stretch. They were like, I don't understand it. Okay, there's no reason to get rid of him. I mean, the national narrative, very out of touch with the closer to the scene narrative.
Well, I will say this, and I'm not going to defend him, but we've talked about, Raheem Morris or Bowles or whomever. Do the guys play for him? And they didn't quit on him this year.
No.
I mean, there's no way you can say that they quit on him. But back to your original point, David, and I think that's the most important one. We've had Pat Kirwan on this show basically as long as we've done a show. And I think you and I have both learned some things from Pat over the years. And one of them that sticks out in this moment, to me at least, David, is that, and it may have been, they obviously contacted Harbaugh. I mean, that's the reports are that they were the seventh team. If there was 6 openings and they all contacted Harbaugh's agent, well, there was a seventh team that supposedly contacted John Harbaugh. And what has Pat told us for years, David, about high-level coaches? Do they get interviewed for head coaching jobs or do they interview the owner?
Correct.
And Pat has always said that the elite coach is interviewing the owner. Don't ever think it's the other way around. And if they indeed talk to Harbaugh's agent may have very simply said, I'm not considering going anywhere unless I bring my own general manager. So that's kind of what I leaned on yesterday, David, is that they obviously, we know, that reached out to John Harbaugh's people. And to me, John Harbaugh's people said, yeah, I'm not even going to talk to you unless I'm able to choose the GM and we move on.
Well, and to increase the John Harbaugh to Miami speculation, the Dolphins had released, I think over the weekend, the list of the 6 guys that they were going to interview for the job. 3 of them had connections to the Niners. And then I think you had an Eagles guy and a Packers guy, and and a Rams guy, all currently working in those organizations' front offices. Well, right around the same time that the Dolphins announced that they were firing Mike McDaniel, they also announced that they were adding one more guy to their interview list. And that guy is Chad Alexander, the assistant general manager of the Los Angeles Chargers, who has a lot of connections to John Harbaugh. Now, he's got connections to other people too, but just saying, few people were doing the math going, Chad Alexander wasn't even one of the 6 people they wanted to talk to 2 days ago. John Harbaugh gets fired, and all of a sudden, we need to talk to Chad Alexander. So maybe there is some there. For whatever it's worth, an NFL reporter I trust said that John Harbaugh's basically taken the week off, that one of his daughters has got a sports activity today, and that they basically have just spent a few days, getting over the place they've called home for the last 18 years and realizing they're going to have to pack up and move and thinking about where it is they want to go. Lots of talk that John Harbaugh's wife loves Nashville. And that, Cam Ward, Nashville, new stadium soon, that, believe it or not, the Titans could emerge in the John Harbaugh sweepstakes. Lots of talk going on right now. The word is Harbaugh is not talking to anybody till Sunday at the earliest. He's spending 5 days with family.
All right, let me ask you a question off of the Harbaugh thing, specifically about Miami, however. When you think of the head coaching or the GM job for the Miami Dolphins, how many jobs is that better than? When you're ranking, if you were to go 1 to 32 in the NFL, how far down on the list would the Miami Dolphins job be? Because to me, it would be pretty far down. I don't need you to rank all 32, but it's clearly a bottom third job to me. And it might be even lower than that.
I think it's in the middle. I don't think it's bottom third. All right. Stephen Ross is patient, and Stephen Ross has no problem spending money. To me, right now, what works against the Dolphins is they don't have a quarterback, and they don't apparently have the means to get one for at least a year because they're in a bad cap situation, which is only going to get worse for a year. That, to me, is the two things working against it. I also think Ross can be talked into, like if you're a John Harbaugh or somebody like that you could bring in your own GM. So I think the job is better looking to John Harbaugh than you think it is. I just think the Dolphins' football reality, bad cap situation, don't have a quarterback on the roster seemingly, don't have the resources to get one. That's working against a guy who's 63 years old.
Well, to me, based on their history, when their last playoff win was, there are many, many jobs better than Miami. Starting 5 next. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Here's the thing: when you joke around, the key. Now wait for it. The key is to be funny. To be sophomoric and crass and vulgar, that's not really funny. The head coach brings in, I know you're asking David because I don't know anything, but the head coach brings in his staff. Now, he may consult with the GM, particularly on coordinators, but it's the head coach's job to assemble a staff. And they may work together to find people, but they have to fit with the guy who's the coach.
Every now and then, a coordinator is left over from the previous staff, and an incoming head coach has to accept a certain coordinator, but it's very rare.
Johnny Mac, there have been a lot of people out there talking about McDonough and McCarron being the best crew at ESPN. I don't think Herb Street brings, I shouldn't say anything. I think Herb Street post-play on replays, the one thing I think and I don't know if it's really easy, David, you're in the booth. EB, you don't have to be an ass. You really don't have to be an ass. You asked a question of David. You always ask a question of David because you don't value my opinion. He wasn't paying any attention. I answered it. I actually know the answer. I'm not stupid. But I think, Herbie's, and David, you can tell me when they're, like Herbie's, when there's a penalty, he tells you exactly when there's a flag, he's got it 9 times out of 10, who the guy is, what it is. And I don't know how easy that is from the booth because you're up there, but he doesn't, when my second half, when he got, I'm sitting there talking to nobody and my wife's laughing, but he's talking about Ole Miss getting points. I'm like, well, what if, or about my, Ole Miss, I'm like, what if they stop and Miami gets points here? He doesn't advance. He's not forward thinking with the game to me.
It's not that hard 75% of the time to know where the penalty is going to be and who's it on. The other thing is the officials running in oftentimes signal to the referee what the penalty is.
Right.
So, and that's not on camera, but that's something you can see from the booth.
Sad and cool all at the same time, Kevin Ball.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan in a little over an hour here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I don't believe we have a poll question up.
Matter of fact, you're incorrect, David. It's similar to yesterday's poll question. It's about tonight's semifinal game.
Who you got?
Yeah, it's that simple. We can add another one.
All right.
We can do something about Wild Card Weekend. We can do something about where you think the Miami Dolphins' job is. We did get a text already on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line asking us to rank the coaching openings. We may get to that a little later on in the show.
By the way, there are 8 openings, which is over 7.5.
Well done, you. Well done.
Thank you. And I still think there's a chance for 9.
I agree 100%. particularly depending on what happens in the next 3 days.
Yeah, well,
Or
yeah.
4 days, I guess, including Monday. But yes.
Yeah. So 21 minutes before the hour, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
And the Starting Five brought to you by Lee County, Florida, building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism.
There is no way when they sent us those commercial spots that they thought you were going BST as much as you have.
Right? I
No
think we
way.
helped them.
No way Jeff Melky and his crew thought BST was going to be the catchphrase, if you will, of the Starting Five.
I think we've helped brand Lee County, Florida. I really do. They should take it and run with it.
If we ever had a bowl game, David, if we ever had a bowl game.
Well, you're going to be on the committee if if they get one. You're going to be on the committee.
Those key lime jackets with
Oh.
pink palm trees.
The amount of money that I would give just to see you. And I don't know if I want you solo or if I want you with like 6 other guys, all of you, different shapes and sizes, wearing that hideous bowl jacket that you're going to be wearing. Oh, man, I'd frame that picture. And I don't have a whole lot up on my walls, but I'd put that sucker up on my wall.
I'd make it into a painting, David, and I'd hang it in my home.
Well, there's no doubt it'd be a mural. You'd see it right when you walk in. We'll start with the Canes playing for the national championship in football for the first time in 23 years. They won a terrific Fiesta Bowl against Ole Miss. Miami led 17-13 at the half, but trailed twice in the fourth quarter, only to have Carson Beck on both occasions respond with 75-yard touchdown drives, scoring the game-winning touchdown on a 3-yard scramble with 18 seconds to play. Miami, 31-27. They will play at home for the national championship a week from Monday night against either Indiana or Oregon, who meet tonight in Atlanta. Officially, it's the Peach Bowl. It's a rematch of October 11th when these two teams met at Oregon. IU with 6 sacks of Dante Moore, and Indiana won 30-20. Game was tied at 20 early fourth quarter, and then IU dominated the final 12 minutes. Indiana 3.5-point favorite. These two teams combined have 1 loss on the year, and it was the IU win over Oregon. That's it. Indiana by 3.5. The over-under 48.5. So 26-23, give or take a half a point. 7:30, 4-letter network once again. NFL. 2 other college football notes. Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese, no surprise, he enters the draft. Rated as a top 10 player in the draft. We'll see where he goes. And Washington quarterback Damon Williams, his agent dropped him in the morning. He decided by dinner time, you know what? I think I'm going to stay with the Huskies after all. And he took himself out of the portal. Still want to know whether or not legally, whatever it is that he signed, is it binding or did he just have a change of heart? I think we'd all like to know, quite frankly, what the rules are, right?
Yeah, believe it or not, you booked the guest. I made some inquiries into the agent yesterday. We actually have a connection to that company, believe it or not, David.
Ooh. NFL news. Dolphins fired head coach Mike McDaniel. He went 35-33 in the last 4 years, 0-2 in the playoffs. Dolphins headed in the wrong direction. 2 years ago, 8-9. This year, 7-10. With the new GM search underway, Stephen Ross decided to clear the decks for the new general manager to call the shots. Bucks head coach Todd Bowles fired half his staff yesterday. Offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard, quarterbacks coach Thad Lewis, special teams coordinator Thomas McGahee, defensive line coach Charlie Strong, DB coach Kevin Ross, safeties coach Nick Rapone, all out. And then 87-year-old offensive assistant Tom Moore retired. Bowles indicating he's still going to be the defensive coordinator. But it'll be a fourth offensive coordinator for Baker Mayfield in as many years. Hell, going back, he's damn near had 10 of them already in his NFL career. Unbelievable. 49ers left tackle Trent Williams practiced yesterday. They now think he's going to play with his hamstring injury against the Eagles. Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson and defensive tackle Jalen Carter were both limited at practice, but the Eagles are cautiously optimistic they will both play against the Niners. Rams, however, out. Guard Kevin Dotson. He will not play against Carolina. NHL, 12 games last night. Panthers lost in Montreal 6-2. Alexander Texier with the hat trick for Les Habitants. You're not going to believe this, but the Rangers lost at home. It's shocking. They never do that. Buffaloes won 12 of 13. Sabres 5-2. Bruins 4-1 over Calgary. Patrick Kane with 2 goals. The last one was number 500 in his illustrious career. He's just the 5th U.S.-born hockey player to ever score 500 goals. Okay, Brett Hull was born in Canada. He had dual citizenship, although he always represented the United States in international play. He is the American with the most goals, but he was not technically U.S. born.
5th U.S. born, 50th all-time 500 goal scorer.
The Leafs were down 1-0 late third. They get a shorty to tie it with 6 minutes to go and then win it in overtime over Philly 2-1. Malkin back. He'd been out quite a while with an injury. He scored a power play goal. Penguins have won 6 in a row. And the Devils, they got issues. 4-1 Penguins. Carolina 5-2 over Anaheim. Nashville in a shootout 2-1 over the Islanders. Winnipeg had the best record in the league last year. I think they now have the worst record in the league this year. They've lost 11 in a row. McDavid with a point in 17 consecutive games. Oilers 4-3 over the Jets. Yeah, we knew Ottawa was going to take one on the chin last night. Colorado had lost 2 games in 3 months, and they lost 2 games in 3 days. Yeah. By the way, John Manson, a defenseman for the Avs, 2 goals, 2 assists, and a fight. Colorado 8-2 over Ottawa. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a night's work. Riley Smith, 2 goals for Vegas and a 5-3 win over Columbus. And Matt Zuccarello with the game-winning goal in overtime as the Wild beat the Kraken 3-2. NBA, only 4 games scheduled, yet only 3 got played. They had issues in Chicago. Switching from the ice to the court. And anyway, condensation on the court, and they couldn't make it go away. So the Heat and the Bulls never played. And don't know when the game's going to get rescheduled either. Minnesota's won 4 in a row. T-Wolves shot 57%, beat Cleveland 131-122. Pacers snap a 13-game losing skid and give their head coach Rick Carlisle his 1,000th win. Indiana 114-112 over Charlotte. And Utah snapped the 5-game skid. They beat Dallas 116-114. One other note in the NBA, Giannis came out yesterday and said, quote, "I will never ask Milwaukee for a trade," unquote.
But my agent might. Oh, sorry. I just added that.
I'm just quoting him. You're free to interject as you will. College hoops. 3 ranked teams last night, all at home, all won. Michigan State was down 7 at the half, however, and the game was tied mid-second half, but Sparty pulled away from Northwestern 76-66. Illinois led Rutgers 43-16 at the half. Yikes. They won easily, 81-55. And Gonzaga improved to 17-1. They beat Santa Clara 89-77, yet that one was to Michigan by over 40. Not a good night in the A-Sun for the Florida schools. Jacksonville at home lost to Queens by 26. North Florida at home lost to West Georgia by 12. FGCU at home lost to Austin Peay by 11. Ohio State went to Oregon and won by 10. Women's action, Miami gave 10th-ranked Louisville a game but lost 77-68. Alabama 17-1 on the season and unranked. Not much longer. They took down 6th-ranked Kentucky 64-51. FGCU women a winner. UNF women a loser. Jacksonville women a winner by 51. And finally, 9 Major League Baseball teams terminated their broadcasting agreements with FanDuel Sports. Those teams are the Braves, the Reds, the Marlins, the Rays, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Tigers, the Royals, and the Angels. Now, there's all sorts of possibilities in the next 10 weeks. They could go back to FanDuel Sports at a lower rate. They could strike a deal with somebody else. There's lots of rumors that Fubo is going to jump in and save the day, which ultimately I think is going to put the games on ESPN Plus, right? Isn't Fubo part of Disney? And there's lots of rumors. Here's the irony in all this. If that were to happen, Mark, remember a few years ago, ESPN wanted to buy these regional channels in bankruptcy court, and they had a deal with Fox to do so, and the judge struck it down. Or the FCC struck it down, but anyway, ESPN was not allowed to purchase these regional networks. Because what they wanted to do was have like ESPN Detroit, ESPN Florida, ESPN this, and it got struck down. And so the regional channels jumped in, and now they're going under. There are 20 NBA and NHL teams, by the way, who have their games currently broadcast on a FanDuel Sports Network. The thought is that they're going to make it through the regular season, but they'll probably be somewhere else next year.
And you wonder, the Florida Panthers left that situation, and they're an over-the-air. There are a few others that are over-the-air. Could this bring some sports back to over-the-air networks? We'll see.
Phoenix Suns a couple years ago took their games off the regional and put it on a local affiliate. And so now, everybody in Phoenix can see every game on like a CBS or NBC station in Phoenix. So games that weren't worth watching last year, but are worth watching this year. But at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know. Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Have a BLT while embracing BST, because Lee County's building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
You can even do it while listening to BTO. Fubo is not owned by ESPN, by the way, just letting you know.
It's not under the umbrella? No, because that's what I saw yesterday, that if Fubo gets involved, or Fubo or whatever it is, that it could ultimately end up on. So,
I mean, they're like a direct competitor of, Hulu and YouTube TV.
Right.
They do have ESPN, so you get that if you subscribe to their service.
Right.
But that may be its own separate deal. But this would be a big coup for them if they bought it, because they're kind of the fledgling streaming network out there.
Right.
That was once a little bigger. Miller and Moulton, Pat Kirwan in a little more than an hour.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef right here. This was coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, there's a lot of us that would like to end the blackout rules, guys. I don't.
Awful.
It's funny but there isn't this. Seth's talked about it a bunch on our show. Have you heard it or read anywhere else where there's this cry for it to happen though? Because I've not seen it, David. I mean, you guys are all right. I agree with you 1,000%, but I've not seen any national sentiment or any politicians or anybody ever bring this up.
I don't think it happens before the next MLB media deal, which isn't going to be till 2028 or after 2028, before 2029. That's when Manfred, and he'll be damn near done, that's when Manfred is going to put together the next big media deal. Right now, Major League Baseball is kind of piecemealing it for the next 2-3 years. I guess we're going over the radio.
Crap, that's my fault.
And so he's going to try to, first off, he's trying to get as many of the team's broadcast rights as possible in-house. Problem is the big boys are never going to give up. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Cubs, the Red Sox, they ain't giving up what they have.
And I guess, David, you are right. They've acquired ESPN. Walt Disney is intending on acquired. It's not done yet.
Gotcha.
It's not done yet. So I'll redo that at the top of the hour. Thank you, Paul. My mistake.
There were 4 coaches that are joining Lane in LSU. All 4 were allowed to work the first 2 games that Ole Miss had in the playoffs, but 2 of the 4 were not allowed to work last night by Lane. They stayed in Baton Rouge. They're recruiting. It's portal time, etc. Charlie Weiss Jr. and somebody else. Consider the coaches with the most impact on the game itself on game day. Lane let them stay with Ole Miss. Sonny, you're really been out of shape about this, but Sonny, on every Hail Mary, DBs maul receivers down the field. They do. And yes, coaches do actually instruct you. They say nothing's going to be called. Remember, Sonny, it's college football. Even if they called it, it's a 15-yard penalty. They would have had one more play from the 20. Sonny, listen.
Sonny, that's literally
enough.
the 3rd or 4th time you've typed it. We get it. You're upset, okay?
Right. Enough. Okay.
My goodness gracious.
It never gets called.
But last night, you know, I'm sorry, Sonny. You're right. We'll do the next 3 segments on it. Will that make you happy? Jesus.
The reason why, besides the fact that it was the last play,
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Miami took down Ole Miss with 18 seconds to play, 31-27. The Canes will be home for the national championship game a week from Monday night. We'll find out late tonight who they'll be playing. Somebody from the Big Ten, either Indiana or Oregon, the last 2 Big Ten champions. Which one will play for the national title? Who are you rooting for, by the way?
Ooh, quickly, by the way, Walt Disney's in process of acquiring a bunch of FUBU. I misspoke there. It could be done as early as the end of March. So just to clarify that, we were kind of going back and forth last segment.
Okay.
Wanted to get that cleaned up. So who am I rooting for? David, I can honestly tell you I don't know if I'm rooting for anybody. I am just going into the game, watching the game. Normally I would, a lot of times if it were this case, I would root for the Indianas of the world. And I like Cignetti. I mean, I like his style, I should say. He is brash. He is in your face. He basically tells you that he's better than you. But he's not likable.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, to me, maybe he is to you, maybe he is to others, but to me, he's not that likable. Now,
let me ask you this. When Nick Saban was at Alabama, did you find him likable?
I've always liked Nick.
Oh, okay.
I was the only. It was funny, my dad hated him because he left Sparty. Right. I never had a problem with Nick leaving Sparty. I got it.
So I'm wondering,
what he did when he was there. So I rooted for Nick in his career because I followed his. Because of that, I followed his career.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. If you had a fondness for him because he coached your school,
I did, and I didn't feel bad. I never begrudged him for leaving, if you know what I mean.
Because I think Cignetti is similar to Nick. He's a little. No, they were both at times harsh publicly, and I like Nick. I like Cignetti. Yeah, sure, he's a little, brash at times, a little arrogant, a little cocky, a little harsh. Okay. Listen, I don't want everybody to be the same. The world's boring enough. Give me a little personality. Give me a little edge when everybody else is trying to say and do the right thing. Okay, Google me. I like that.
I'm with you. And Nick was this way too, and for whatever reason and I don't dislike Signetti, David. Don't take it that way. I don't dislike him. But he's just not likable. I mean,
fair enough.
Has he ever smiled? There was a presser, like a Zoom call, he and Lanning were on, and I think Lanning said that he was going to block or something like that. And Signetti laughed. How are you going to defend? It's the first time I've seen him actually laugh. I was like, hey, look at that.
I will say, who always got him to smile? Jenny Dell always got Kurt Signetti to smile. She asked him really good questions. She asked good short follow-up questions to something he would say. All right. And the follow-up always got Signetti to smile. He would look at her kind of like, you got me there a little bit. Good for you. So anyway, I'm rooting for IU. I'm picking Oregon in a slight upset, but I'm rooting for Indiana. It's the most amazing story the sport has ever seen. I would love for them to get to the championship game.
I've said it for a while. It's the best hire. It's the best coaching hire this century. And I don't just mean in college football. There's never been a better hire. There are maybe, you could say Nick at Alabama. You go back, Bear Bryant. I don't know where you want to go. But all the schools, when Lou Holtz turned around Notre Dame. Well, Notre Dame is a century of history, for crying out loud. I mean, even Mario finally bringing the U back. Well, they were there. They brought him back. Indiana was a doormat. Indiana's the team you scheduled for homecoming. This is remarkable. And I love the point you made either earlier this week or last week, and I think it was late last week when you said Bobby Knight would have loved him.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, the two of them would have gone on. Could you imagine the off season in the state of Indiana? Bobby Knight and Kurt Signetti would have done speaking engagements together. Oh, my goodness. The tickets they would have sold, the amount of money they could have gotten. They damn near would have had a show. Would have been like Dean and Martin, or Lewis and Martin. You know what I mean? It would have been great. Bobby Knight, Kurt Signetti. You know how the baseball tour, like they spend the month of January?
Oh, yeah.
And they go around with because the Twins did a caravan with like 6 states.
Right.
And,
so, the Tigers did it all through Michigan, the Barnstorming
right.
tour. Right.
My goodness. The Bobby Knight, Kurt Signetti Barnstorming tour would have been spectacular. Oh, hell. I might have wanted to go.
Right. I could see Bobby Knight at halftime of games going, go talk to Kurt. I don't want to talk to you right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I could almost see Bobby saying, hey, Kurt, you handle this. I don't want to deal with this
I'm
anymore.
done talking to this guy. I'm done with this guy. So you're right. And I don't know who I'm rooting for. I guess because when the bracket came out and I filled it out, and David, we kind of joked before the show, you do want to be right when you do this for a living. I had Oregon going to the Natty when I saw the bracket.
And I have them winning it. So now
I had an all Big Ten final. I had Oregon playing Ohio State. Obviously, the one side was dead wrong. We'll see tonight.
So it's Miami against the winner of tonight, Indiana and Oregon. They played on October 11th in Eugene. Oregon had only lost one home game this decade. Mendoza threw a pick 6 early fourth quarter. The game was tied at 20. Outson Stadium is going bonkers. It's as loud as the place can get on a beautiful early fall Saturday afternoon. And Mendoza and the Hoosiers walk out on the field. The kickoff goes through the end zone, tied at 20, 12 and a half minutes to play. And he calmly leads them on a 12-play, 75-yard drive, 6 runs, 6 passes. On third down, he throws a back shoulder touchdown to his number 1 wide receiver. Ball game. I thought he won the Heisman in that moment. I do think the game within the game tonight, Dante Moore hasn't decided whether or not he's going to enter the draft. The thought is if he does, he'll be the second quarterback taken. I think Dante Moore, a bit of a showcase tonight. Now,
do you think that, let's just say Oregon wins and he's great, can he pass Mendoza for the first overall?
Sure. I think so. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's up to Vegas. It's up to Brady. Brady's going to pick the quarterback of the future for the Raiders. Yeah, absolutely. Tom Brady's going to decide.
I've got to say, and there's nothing that you don't really love about Mendoza. I mean, if you dislike Mendoza, well, I don't know. I think we need to talk a little bit.
I was going to say, is he too nice for you? Is that
right?
It?
Right. I mean, because this seems to be the genuine article. It doesn't seem to be phony.
You don't like the... We
can read phony. Like, I get people didn't like Tebow, but it was never phony with Tim.
No.
He's been the same, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not playing anymore. He's the exact same way now as he was then.
He is.
The genuine article. And I think Mendoza's the same guy.
I see him.
But is there something about that guy, that really nice young man, that guy that you'd want to date your daughter, being the quarterback in Las Vegas?
Well, I'll never forget the Niners chose Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers, and the head coach at the time for the Niners, he was quoted as saying something to the effect of, I think Alex Smith opened the car door for a couple of executives and what have you, and it impressed the Niners. And when Aaron Rodgers found out, he looked at him like, seriously? They made their decision over that?
No, and I'm not... make the decision however you want. I'm just saying, when you think Las Vegas, not the Las, and even the Raiders for that matter, but Las Vegas, Sin City,
I know.
It would be more of a match really for, and I know he's playing, but for the Colts, to be honest. A Midwestern where they're nice, if you know what I mean.
Well, listen, Dante Moore is West Coast cool. Okay, I mean, you meet him. He's very nice, very impressive. He's not the huge outward smile of Mendoza. I mean, Mendoza seems almost like a greeter. He's so happy. He would, every woman at the banquet, he would grab their chair and pull it for them to sit them down. Okay. I mean, Mendoza seems like the chatty greeter who would take you to your table.
But I picked Oregon before this whole thing started to play and beat Indiana in this game. I am not wavering tonight.
Oh, I'm wavering. But
are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Did you see what they did to Alabama? Now, I knew they were going to beat Alabama. I knew they were going to beat Alabama by 14 to 17 points. Did you see what they did to Alabama? Yeah. Yeah, and right now, you watch that performance and you think to yourself, is somebody on Saturdays really going to beat this team? I know it can happen, but damn. You know how you head into the NCAA tournament in basketball and you go, I don't know if this team's going to win it, but this team's the toughest out? Okay, that's Indiana. They happen to be the best team. They're number 1 right now. They're undefeated, but they are the toughest out. They're not going to beat themselves. They're incredibly well coached. They play complementary football. They can win the close game. They've been in it, and they've won it.
And they got to do it again tonight. They already beat them in a close game and a really good one at Oregon. They'll have the home crowd advantage tonight. There's going to be 65-35. Indiana for sure, maybe more. Pat Kirwan, 45 minutes, Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
They're all predetermined, DC. It would have made more sense for that game to be at the higher ranked team's home to me, but that's not going to happen. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but the top 4 teams, starting with Indiana, get to pick where they play their first game, right?
Yes. Indiana gets first choice, and it goes from there. That's why Ohio State chose Dallas. Because there was a possibility that Miami could beat A&M, and they didn't want to play Miami in Miami.
Left Twix, that's funny. See, that's how you do sarcasm on here. You put that little LOL at the end, then we know you're making a joke. Just because you're texting. See, we don't see the inflection in your voice.
Well, Coffin Ball, Miami traveled to Dallas against Ohio State. Okay. They maybe didn't spend the money to go to Phoenix because they were saving it for the next round. That is part of the problem with the Bulls. You know, like, to me, if Miami had played at Ohio State, there only would have been a few thousand who could have gotten tickets. But then all those people that spent the money to go to Dallas, they would have spent that money, I think, to go to Phoenix. There was 35,000 of them in Dallas. It is so good for college football that they're back. Those that don't know, don't know.
But, you could circle, whatever what did Schnellenberger call it? The
State of Miami.
State of Miami. That's who was rooting for Miami last night.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe Louisiana, because they wanted their coaches, because they're greedy. The snark of my daughter is overwhelming. She doesn't like football. She watched the first quarter last night, decided she was rooting for the U because two of her good friends in school, one is a Florida State fan and the other's a Florida fan. God, I love her.
Wow. She is your daughter.
Yes, she is.
Hey, Sonny, honestly, please, enough. Please.
The other guy made a joke at your expense, and the funny thing, Sonny, you didn't get the joke was at your expense.
You've never acted this way in the chat room before about anything. Why this? Enough.
In fact, Sonny, I want you to spend the rest of the show not talking to chat. Go online and find me a Hail Mary where there was a pass interference call in the last, I don't know, ever. Oh, she doesn't have it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Who you got tonight? That's our poll question. We asked you, who do you think was going to win between Miami and Ole Miss? I mean, we're a very, very creative show, this Miller and Moulton. So let's see. What do you want to talk about today? I don't know. Who you got, Oregon or Indiana? Okay, good. Done. There you go.
I could put up another question and say, how good is the Dolphins' job? And we could come up with answers for that.
I like that, by the way. Very good, pretty good, not so good.
Right. So, I mean, it's a bad franchise. It's been a bad franchise for a quarter century. It has. There's no two ways about it. And you're right on a lot of things with Stephen Ross, that he's patient, that he spends money, but he's really never made good hires. We'll see if he does this time. I got to tell you, and I did let David know, yesterday, I had a hell of a day. I finished the show. I'm all excited. I got a lot to get done. I really did yesterday. I had a lot to do. And my wife, a couple days a week, works in people's homes. And she was on the way to someone's home yesterday, and her car broke down. And I'm on the phone with something that was pretty important. And she's calling and calling and calling. And I'm like, what the hell? And then finally a text, my car broke down. You got to come get me. So I go flying out of the house. I mean, I was moving. I'm passing cars.
Hold
right,
on.
left.
Oh, I thought you were talking about how fast you got to your car. I was going to say, is this Moulton chasing a foul ball? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm out the door. Didn't even grab the water. I'm moving.
and yes, I did just go third person, maybe the second time in my life, but it's an inside joke between the two of us.
So I get there, and her car broke down at a very busy intersection.
Oh, boy.
And So she's got AAA. She called AAA. Like, are you on the road? They're like, yeah, we can't come to you if you're on the road. You got to get your car out of a traveling lane before you can even call us. You need to call 911.
Oh, she should have lied. She should have said, yeah.
Yes,
No,
yes, she should have.
I got
Yes,
it to the
she
side.
should have.
No.
But fortunately, apparently, two women, I guess nurses, helped her push her car out of the lane onto the shoulder. But she had still called 911. I arrived right before the police got there. Literally handed her the key to my car, and she left, got her stuff, and left to go to her appointment, which she was about to be late for. And it was one female police officer, by the way, a very attractive police officer.
Ooh, really?
Very attractive.
Huh.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, we got to push this up on the curb.
Okay.
So she and I get the car up off the road onto the curb. And I am now waiting for AAA, which took a while, about an hour and 20 minutes for them to show up.
Damn.
Yesterday was a little warmer than it's been. David, I know you know this. I run hot.
Yes, you do, Mark.
So I'm getting a couple of things done on the phone and doing my thing waiting for AAA. But I look, and at the stoplight is this beat up old minivan, 10 years old, paint faded. But the first thing I see when I just happened to look up was the front license plate, and it was a U license plate.
Oh, there we go.
And then I look up, and it's two U flags, the flags that fly that you tuck in the window to the top of the car there.
Right.
Two U flags.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, they're in. And I just look and I point at them, which may not have been the nicest thing to do in retrospect. But I just point at him. It didn't bother him. He sees me point, and he flashes the U. Comes right back at me with the U. And I give it right back to him. Then I realize he's with his wife. She's giving me the U.
Uh-oh.
And it made the whole thing worth it, by the way. Light turns green, window down, they're honking the horn, both flashing the U at me as they leave. And I just sat there and laughed. I'm like, I know I made their day, and they made mine. Fantastic. They were out yesterday. They'll be out for a week and a half now, David.
They're going to be out for years because this isn't being 10-0 under Mark Richt and beating Notre Dame in early November. This isn't being number 3 in the country in early November of 2005. This is beating 2 SEC schools and Ohio State. One of those wins on the road, by the way. And this is playing for a national championship. This is how they remember it. They will go right back to how it was they behaved between 1983 and 2002. And they all coming back. And it's just a matter of how many of the younger generation are going to join the old guard. Because the old guard is coming out of the woodwork because they've been in hibernation a long time and they were not happy about it.
No, it is the most obnoxious fan base in America. And yes, I know what I'm saying when I say that. I'm talking about you put Ohio State there. You can put the Patriots when their thing was going on. No. The U brings a whole new dimension to cocky.
Right. Miller and Moulton were not allowed on the bandwagon because we're only snarky. Okay. Snarky. Yeah. There's no room for you here. You got to be just flat obnoxious. Okay. Somewhere in between Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin. That's what you need to be if you're going to hang with us. Yes. And they've a week and a half to get ready for this game.
A home game, too.
A home game.
So every Indiana or Oregon fan that makes their way to South Florida next week is going to be greeted at the airport by it. It's not going to stop.
Oh, man. I will say there's something about that whole flash in the U. I think people's thumbs get bigger because it's amazing to me how wide the U can be when they're flashing it. You know, I'm like, wow, 2 thumbs together. Huh. That's wider. And I thought, man, do you have big thumbs? Look at that. That's a wide ass U. Oh, yeah.
We're fired up on this show. We loved it when it happened the first time. We've been wanting it to happen. David and I have been doing this show for damn near 20 years together. We've been wanting this the entire time.
Oh, my goodness. The Miami Hurricanes are back. They're the U again. Say it isn't so. Really? Is this possible? Oh, my goodness. Could you get a bigger contrast if Indiana wins, by the way?
No.
I mean, seriously.
No, you cannot.
Not just in terms of fan bases, but just, Miami, arrogant, obnoxious, a lot of history. And then Indiana. I mean, it just somewhere between, I don't know, John Mellencamp and, who else,
Right, you go from John Mellencamp to Uncle Luke.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of sums it up for those of you that understand that.
Right. And one group that thinks that, college football began in 1983 and has been on hiatus for 20 years. And another group that, quite frankly, has only discovered college football in the last 18 months.
So Oregon, Indiana tonight. We'll see who takes on Miami in a home game. Wow.
Folks are wondering how Felipe's doing.
I don't think he's been to bed yet.
I don't think so either. Hope he doesn't have to work today.
I think he wants to work today. He is decked out. He's probably got his Miami shorts on with a Miami shirt while wearing a Miami hoodie. Head to toe.
Miller and Moulton.
When we come back, David, we've got to put some picks on the line.
Hey, we were 10-3 against the number last week. 10-3. Remember, it's 2026. 2025, we sucked.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Left Twix, I love him. I love him. If I were to see him, I would try to hug him. I love him. I've always loved him. I love all the warts. I love everything about the guy. I know there's plenty of bad with Michael Irvin. I get it. I love him. And I think by now, if you've listened to this show, you're aware of David's affinity for diva wide receivers. I don't need to say much more.
I have to admit, though, I'm hoping that the behavior can be explained by like a face full of cocaine, because he's like 60, isn't he? I mean, wasn't his last year with the Canes 87?
Right?
I mean, he's got to be right around 60. And I'm 60, so it's difficult for me. I mean, I don't think I get that excited about my daughter, if you know what I mean, and grandkids.
I happened to listen to a little bit of Lebitard yesterday or the day before, and he was talking about how perfect Michael Irvin is to be the one really out in front because of all of the issues that he's had, and just everything about who he is represents them perfectly.
Yep.
The good, the bad, every part of it.
Totally. And the rest of the country looks and goes, really? That's your front man? And the Canes go, yup, that's our guy.
When Ray Lewis isn't cocky enough to represent.
Exactly. Right. When Ray Lewis is the calm one. Right. Have to let a whole generation know this is what you're dealing with. And I think this is also a refresher course for a couple of generations who had forgotten what it was like when the Canes can play football at the highest level again. I love the fact that security and the officials on the sidelines and in the end zones, they are adamant, okay, about anybody else moving in front of the dotted lines and, what have you. Michael Irvin can just walk anywhere he wants. He's walking in front of security in the end zone while the play's going on, and they're not doing anything. DC, how many times do we see the use 30 for 30 queued up in the next 10 days? Oh, yeah.
Between the ESPN networks and the ACC network. I mean, they may just have the sucker on a loop.
There may be a whole generation of people who hate the Canes by the time the title game kicks off. That may be enough time for them to go, I'm happy they're winning again, to go, no, I'm done with them. I will say there were Gator and Knowles fans who were rooting for Miami last night that I know.
Wow.
That they're like, listen, it's been a long time. Okay. And also I think because they're tired of the big three being down. I think they want somebody to represent again. Oh, Adam, you're so right. Do you know who's going to be on the sidelines a week from Monday?
It's going to be like
goodness.
Radio Row for the couple of days around the people that'll be around it.
Do you know how many gold jackets are going to be at that game? There could be 10.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kirwan joins us on this Football Friday. Fall Friday. Yesterday, 64% of you picked the Canes to beat Ole Miss. Who do you got tonight? Same spread, Indiana favored over Oregon. We're not asking you to pick it against the number. We're just asking you our poll question. Who do you think wins? IU, Oregon. Winner to play Miami a week from Monday in Miami for the national championship. This a rematch. We've had a couple of other rematches during the playoffs. The team that lost the first game won the second game. Can Oregon return the favor after IU went to Outson and beat them 30-20 3 months ago?
Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is open. 21,000 is the number. Curious, David brought up something during the break, and we got a couple people in our YouTube and Twitch chat rooms that agreed with David that are part of that group, that he said he had some Florida and Knoll fans that let him know they were rooting for Miami. Seems like sacrilege to me, but if you're a Gator fan, if you're a Knoll fan, who were you be honest with us. It's anonymous. I don't know what your name is. Who were you rooting for last night? Are you okay with Miami being in the Natty?
I thought this to me was a Florida college football fans mulligan. That we have got, the Gators, obviously, they haven't been at this, stage in 17 years. They haven't, they were Muschamp had the 1 year when they were number 2. Mullen had a few 10-win seasons, but, they haven't been at this level in damn near a generation. Florida State, 12 years ago, almost to the day, since Jameis and company won their national championship. And it's been a decade since they've been in the playoff. They should have been a couple years ago. We all know what happened. But I just felt, Mark, and it's what I was getting from people I know, that last night was like, listen, for one night, we are Florida, if you know what I mean. Knowles fan, Gator fan was like, listen, this will be the only time, but, the big three needs to be represented here. We got to be back. And then it can be our turn again soon. But for one night, I'm rooting for them. Now, they may not root for them a week from Monday. They may be like, them having the banner might be a little too much for me. But you know what? I want them in it.
Well, here's a question for you, David. We got to do our picks here, but here's a question for you. While Knoll fan may not want the Kane fan to win it, Gator fan may be a little more torn because we all know they like to chant those 3 letters. And we know that you can't chant those 3 letters because they have no shot at winning a title. But what bothers the SEC fan more? The Gator SEC fan? The Canes winning the Natty or the Big Ten going 3 in a row?
I'm telling you, I really think it was a one-night mulligan. Like, I think there were times, we're on in Huntsville that, was there one time that an Alabama fan rooted for Auburn? One time. That's it. Just the one night in which you're like, I hope Auburn wins tonight. And vice versa. That's all. I felt like last night, Mark, was the get out of jail free card for the college football fan in the state of Florida who's connected to either the Knowles, the Canes, or the Gators. I felt for one night that they were rooting for Miami to win. Now I think the Knoll and Gator fan will root for whoever wins tonight, a week from Monday.
Did hear quickly from a Gator alum who could not be more adamant that he is not today, not tomorrow, not ever rooting for the University of Miami.
Okay, fair enough.
And he, I can sympathize with him because he's a Gator alum. And he's like, not one of those Miami fans, not their parents, not one of them went to the damn school. I get it. Trust me, with where I'm from and having to deal with most of my life, I understand where you're coming from. All right, David, you had a great week last week. I had a great week last week. You are now 63-83. I closed within one game of 500. If last night would have counted, I would be at 500. But we didn't count our Thursday picks all year long. We're not going to start in 2026. But I am taking Oregon plus the 3.5. David, I think, is going to be with me, but he's been wavering. I have not wavered once. There have been rematches since the SEC title game, and the team that lost the first one has won every one thus far. I think it continues. I don't think that Indiana gets to the quarterback nearly as much as they did last time, and the game was pretty damn competitive. Give me the Ducks. To the weekend we go. Sorry, Jacksonville. This is one that if I lose this bet, I'm okay with. I really am. But I'm going to take Josh Allen. Right now, I'm getting a point and a half. One app has a point, one app has a point and a half. I'll take the point and a half, and I'm going to take the Bills over the Jags. I'm taking the Bears. I don't see where either, and I understand that Green Bay, the coach has been there longer and the quarterback's played in the playoff. I get it. And I know it's Caleb's first game. I just think the Bears are playing better right now. I do think home field advantage makes a difference by a slight amount in this game. I'm also getting a point and a half in this one. I'll take Chicago. If the Chargers weren't so banged up, I might lean Chargers. I think this game's going to be close, but I think in the fourth quarter, New England will pull away and cover the number. It may be 7. They may not win by a lot, but I just think the health of the Patriots versus the health of the Chargers, I do think that, they can run, they can pass. Drake May's ability to move the chains with his feet will be a factor in this game. I'm going to take New England and lay the 3.5. I hope my wife's not listening. She got up out of her chair and left the room when I criticized Ramsey on the first Ravens touchdown. She didn't talk to me for the rest of the night. I don't know what to tell you, honey. I still love you. I enjoy our season tickets, but I'm taking the Texans in that defense against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the end for Aaron Rodgers. Houston wins on Monday night, and I'll lay the 3. I shouldn't lay this big number. I don't know what to tell you. I know that Carolina beat him last time. I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the AFC, and I think Matt Stafford is the best quarterback in the NFC. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to take the Rams. I will say it'll be tough for the Rams to get Seattle, as banged up as the Rams are. Hopefully they get a little bit more healthy, but I think the Rams will run and hide from Carolina. I'm going to lay the big number. And I've hemmed and hawed at this last game because I like Brock Purdy. I like him a lot. But the pedigree is in Philadelphia. Hurts has been nothing but a winner wherever he's been. It's 5.5. It's going to be really close. This could be a field goal game. I could get burned. But if I'm going to get burned, I'm going to take the team that's been winning a lot in the postseason. If the Johnson's back there, I think that helps for Philadelphia. And David pointed out how banged up the Rams have been, or how banged up the Niners have been. I'll take Philadelphia and lay the 5.5.
Well, there's only 7 or so games to pick, so we're going to have some that we agree on. I picked Oregon before the whole tournament started. Oregon got whooped last game against Indiana, and the game was tied early fourth quarter. I don't think they're going to get whooped up front. I think they've got a score to settle. I think it's going to be a field goal kick at the end of the game, either way. I'm going to take the 3.5. I'm going to pick Oregon 24-23, but I'm taking the 3.5, and I love the half in this one. To the NFL, 10.5 is a lot of points to give a home team. A home team that's significantly better at home than they are on the road. There's no doubt the Rams are the better team. It would shock me if the Rams lost, but the half could come into play here. I think the Rams could be up 14 and Carolina scores late to set up an onside kick scenario. I just think the Rams' injuries will prevent them from dominating Carolina on the scoreboard the way they otherwise would have. I'm taking Carolina in the points. The Packers beat the Bears in Green Bay and led by 10 with 2 minutes to go in Chicago. By the way, if Green Bay had held on and won that game, I think they technically would have won the North. There's not a whole lot separating these two teams. The Bears come in having lost 2 in a row. The Packers come in having lost 4 in a row. Love didn't play in 3 of them. I'm going to take the Packers. I just think they're better. They should have swept Chicago. I think they'll get payback, and they'll win this time for the game they let get away a month ago. Another one, Mark, where I'm going to go head-to-head with you. I like the Jags. They're a more complete team than Buffalo. Josh Allen's the most dangerous guy in the field on the AFC side. There's no doubt about it. Mark, this year in the NFL is not a good year for incumbents. It's not a good year for what's happened the first 5 years of this decade.
Are you calling this a midterm?
I'm calling this a market correction. The Jags win and advance. Jacksonville, 27-23. Jags, Jags. In all seriousness, though, the Bills' wide receivers are terrible. Their passing game probably has to go through the tight ends. I don't know if that's enough to beat Jacksonville through the air, and no one has beaten Jacksonville on the ground. Now, the Bills have the best rushing attack in the league, and obviously the Jags haven't faced it. But that, to me, the game within the game. And if Buffalo doesn't rush for the normal $160 that they normally rush for, I don't think they win. Even if Cook and Allen rush for 120, I don't think it'll be enough. I think they need to rush for over 150, and I don't think the best run defense in the league is going to let them do it. I just think the Niners are too banged up. Even if Trent Williams comes back, even though Pearsall hasn't practiced, they hope he'll play. Also, McCaffrey, he doesn't have that burst that he's had before. I don't know if it's because he's worn down. I don't know if he's nursing an injury and he's playing at 80% and he's gutting it out because they haven't had anybody else. But Kittle's not 100%. McCaffrey doesn't have the burst. Their wide receivers are not going to threaten the Eagles' secondary. And San Francisco has no pass rush. Lane Johnson's coming back. Check the Eagles' record when Lane Johnson plays. I'm taking Philly. I'm laying the 5.5. Mark, you and I see the Patriots and Chargers exactly the same way. If LA was healthy, I'd give them a real shot to win this game. I just think that New England brings more artillery to this fight. New England's lack of playoff experience does concern me. But I think that New England, they may play a skittish first half. And I do think LA keeps this close for a long time. But I think New England with a fourth quarter score wins it by a score, and they cover the 3.5. I don't see how Pittsburgh's going to block Houston. And Houston's game travels. And they have playoff experience as a group, so the whole playing in Pittsburgh and what have you. I know they haven't won on the road the last 2 years. They've lost in Baltimore and Kansas City. Yeah, the Steelers ain't the Chiefs and the Ravens on the road. No. I'm going to take Houston, Mark, and lay the 3. So you and I agree on the points with Oregon, on the points with the Eagles, on the points with the Patriots, and on the points with the Texans. We disagree. I'm taking Carolina, Green Bay, and Jacksonville. You're taking the Rams, the Bears, and the Bills.
Got to be honest. All I need is 4 and 3. I just need to get this sucker back to 500. That's all I'm looking for. Anything over that's a bonus.
I need to win all of these games and then the national championship game and then the rest of the NFL playoffs so that I can finish the year 4 games below 500.
There's always hope. Winning and hope, David. That's what Pat Kirwan taught us, and you're at the point where that's all you've got.
Yep.
Pat Kirwan coming up next. Miller and Moulton on a Football Friday. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
Lee
sound.
County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you feeling? Everything good?
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Mm.
Did you watch college football last night?
Yep, right up to the end of it. It was
That was a
very
pretty
good.
fun game.
Sure was.
I will say, as much as I like Bain, and I know they helped out with him, but that, he had been great up until that game. He didn't do much last night.
No, he didn't. He looks to me physically, he's a good player. He's not twitchy enough as a right defensive end. He looked to me like he's more like almost an inside guy physically.
You think he's a Justin Tuck type?
Yes. And inside on third down, left defensive end. I just thought too many times I saw like he could have swatted the hand down and bent his shoulder around the corner. He didn't do a lot of it. He got tied up a bunch.
Yeah, that's as well as I've seen. And I've not watched every game, but obviously these playoff games and a few others, that's as well as I've seen anybody block him.
Yep. That is my point about him. The other guy on the other side who hurt his elbow, he's twitchy. He's got a little burst to him. The tight end on Miami's from where Brady plays high school football, Red Bank Catholic. 87.
Yeah.
He had a chance for a big play and he bobbled the ball.
Mm-hmm. Those
His
D-backs bobbled some balls, man. That 4 picks they dropped.
Yeah. How about that kid that should still be in high school? Number 10.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
When they gave, I mean, the one play I liked with him was the basically the lateral pass when he got it, you know, 5-8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's like, good luck's hitting that.
No, I mean, that was done intentionally, and that's really a lateral, and it's like taking all kinds of risks, but he destroyed the separation he had after the catch. There was no way that guy, it was like an open field tackle. He couldn't do it. Yeah, that guy's something. I was laughing when you think about the age of that kid and the age of the quarterback throwing. It's like, I could be your father. I don't think it could get any wider than that in the history of college football.
So we'll probably get into this more on the air, but the Dolphins GM and or coaching job.
Yeah.
Is it a middle third? It's not a top third job. I think we all would agree on that. Is it a middle third job or a bottom third job in the league?
Yeah, well, I cut the jobs in half, and they didn't make it in the top half.
Okay.
Baltimore, the Giants, Atlanta, and I think the Cleveland job's better than that.
Okay. That's just the event. And I mean league-wide, though. I think it's a bottom third job in the league. Like, I just don't think.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think that franchise is a bottom third franchise right now. And go ahead.
I'd like to discuss this because your question really is who you after and who would come. Like, I don't think John would go there, Harbaugh. But if he was going there, you better not hire a GM before you hire him because he might want to bring a GM with him.
Yep. No, I said that earlier. I mean, you did. I listened, Pat. He's one of those guys that's interviewing owners, not the other way around.
Yeah. And that owner will lose the interview.
Well, that's why, if he ends up going to the Giants, Joe Shane is either going to be his water boy or he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I think he'll be the water boy. I don't even think he minds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday!
In Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Final hour of the show and of the week. In Live Oak, Lake City and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas, Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, who do you got tonight, Indiana or Oregon? Who do you think's going to win? Vote accordingly. Pat Kirwan, he was up late watching the semi, Miami, scoring late to beat Ole Miss. I'm sure making his first 2026 NFL draft notes during the game. Pat, NFL radio moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 7. Saturdays during the season, including tomorrow 1 to 4. And he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Were you impressed with what you saw last night?
Yes, I enjoyed every second of it. I was taking notes on guys and was talking to the director of the Senior Bowl right before the game, and we got into a discussion of how many draftable players are playing this weekend in the 2 games, and we decided that 40 was the number, and that includes guys that would maybe not get drafted but signed right away, but 40 guys will have a draftable grade in these 2 games, and that's a big chunk of them. We'll see a fair number of first-rounders, maybe, 7 or 8. We'll see as we go through the whole process, but it's fun for me. I don't really start the college draft stuff until right now. So last night was a good start. And then again, tonight will be a great start. A lot of Oregon guys, maybe even more Oregon guys with draftable grades right now. So that'll be fun to evaluate what I think I'm watching, have an opinion as the time goes on.
Between the, because you watch it differently than we're watching. You're watching, like you said, you're getting ready for the draft when you're watching this game. Between the 2 DNs for Miami and the offensive tackle, was there one that stood out more than the rest for you, Pat?
Well, I thought the right tackle is a right tackle for starters, and I thought he's kind of a position blocker. He's not a power blocker. A lot of people want a right side road grader. I would not call him that. That's not a negative. That's what he is, and so I liked him, but I don't know if I liked him as a top of the first round guy. The right defensive end, when they move him around a bunch. I thought he's body type, and just discussing with you guys, maybe Justin Tuck type, but a versatile guy. I think he's stout enough to play inside. I think they'll move him inside in pro football on third downs. The kid outside who hurt his elbow, the left side, he was on the right side. And I thought that guy had the most twitch. So they're both first round draftable graded guys, but you have to think about where you're playing them. They're good, and they're four-man front guys for sure. They're not going to stand up. So you're thinking about four-man defenses, which David likes to keep a tab on this. Less and less teams in four-man fronts. I do think they're both stout enough to play in a three-man front that plays a lot of one-gap stuff. So, yeah, I like them. I liked a bunch of stuff about them. The quarterback, who has been maligned, I'll say that for sure. There were some throws late in that game that were pro throws. I think he'll be an NFL backup guy. So I just started. And so tonight's a harder night for me because there's more guys, I think, in the game. And your poll question, my heart wants Indiana. I get a kick out of that coach. He could have been in the Addams Family with the faces he makes.
Your thoughts on the events out of South Florida yesterday? So Stephen Ross met with Mike McDaniel on Tuesday, and apparently he slept on it. But they also have been talking to prospective GM candidates, and Stephen Ross woke up yesterday morning and decided, yeah, I can't go forward with Mike McDaniel. I mean, don't you think the prospective GM candidates influenced his final decision? Because we all know he wanted to keep him.
Yeah, he wanted to keep him, but he told someone I know that he wanted him to be the offensive coordinator, which the three of us know it's not how the NFL works. Yeah, I think the feedback he's getting, not just from candidates, some of those candidates probably don't think they should go in that direction about telling the owner what to do. But I think every GM candidate who's worth anything is saying, I'm going to want to talk about the head coach because that's job number one for the GM. So he did the right thing. On Monday, when Mike said he was going to be in the room, that I think ruffled a lot of feathers. Some of the feathers you might even know yourselves, David. So what are you doing letting the guy sit in the room? So by Tuesday, that was already off the table. And by Thursday, he was relieved of his duties. To me, Mike is going to get a job as an OC and be up in the booth, calling plays. When I heard that he was maybe interviewing with Detroit, you guys tell me, Dan Campbell and Mike McDaniel, are they ever going out to dinner together?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No, I not unless Mike McDaniel is Dan Campbell's driver.
Well, I just, I think Mike's got talent as a play caller, but personalities, are they the two ends of the spectrum there? I mean,
I think you're onto something.
Yeah,
I could. By the way, I do think he'll be on the short list in Tampa.
Yeah, I agree with that. Todd is, he just needs guys that he can turn his back on the offense so he can stay on the defense the way he likes to. And that guy, head coach experience and a good play caller. And then it'll really be about Baker, and how Baker sees the guy. Baker's done very well when he and the coordinator's gotten along in Tampa Bay.
All right. We have 8 job openings now. I think we all agree that Baltimore is the best job, obviously. A lot of talent there. When you rank these jobs, how do you rank them, Pat?
Well, who's the owner? Let's start at the top. Who is the owner? And then the second part of that is how much money does he have to spend? Because it's an expensive business. How much of a meddler is he? That's the first place we're going to start. And then from there, I'm going to take a good long look at the roster and be realistic about what it takes to get this team up and running. Because with each passing head coach, in my opinion, they're going to get less time than the guy before them, because the hopes and dreams are over. We're in a reality world where they have no shows, and they went down a road. They bought Tyreek Hill. That didn't work. They drafted Tua instead of Herbert. That didn't work. So the next guy's got to fix a lot of stuff faster than the guys before him. So I don't know if that makes it a good job or not. But the Baltimore thing, yeah, everyone, me included, I have number one of the jobs, but the expectations there are gigantic. And then people will say, well, they have the talent and I love their roster. But you got to start asking yourself, are you a coach that understands what Lamar is and how you have to play football with Lamar? Lamar's not changing, and he's getting older at the same time. So that's number one. Number two is the Giant job. Number three is the Atlanta job, and especially because of their division. And the owner is going to have Matt Ryan to deal with, which is perfect. And then the fourth best job, and this is probably where we'll disagree, I think the Cleveland job's the fourth best job, not Miami.
Wow. That ownership, that general manager, that division?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, because you got a defense. If you keep Jimmy Schwartz has a year left on his contract. You can buy time when your defense can play like that. So I do like them, and I think that, and I don't like them, but they're the fourth best. If I was offered Cleveland and Miami, I would probably take Cleveland.
Tennessee or Miami, which one would you take?
Tennessee or Miami. I talked to Dave McGinnis yesterday about his team. They got a couple of interesting pieces, but they're not good on either side of the ball yet. I kind of think the young quarterback is worthy of 2 more years before I make a full decision on him. And I say that because at the end of the third year, for your listeners, as they should know, is the option year. And I'm not up to thinking he's that. Now, anyone who says, oh, yeah, we're giving him the option, you're rushing into this thing. Slow down and give yourself the 2 years to be objective about it. Tennessee or Miami? Well, I don't trust the Tennessee ownership either. Whether it was the dad or the girls, they fire coaches pretty fast there. So I might say Miami.
Titans with $113 million to spend this offseason. The Raiders with $110 million to spend this offseason. That's a job we haven't talked about. Let me just throw this out at you. We all know the owner's interesting, and as NFL owners go, he's poor. All right. But in theory, you're going to draft your franchise quarterback. You've got Genty and you've got Brock Bowers. I've got something to work with on that side of the ball. And did I mention I have $110 million in cap space? I mean, if they have smart people and make the right hires, which I don't know that they do, they could get good quickly.
I don't think so, because they don't have an offensive line at all.
They got $110 million.
I know what they have. I'm not trusting them to buy the right players, and I don't think they're going to buy 4 veteran, expensive linemen. And their line is as bad a line as I've seen. So Genty, I love Genty, but that guy, that he survived 17 games getting whacked in the back of the line of scrimmage half the time and grinding out 2-yard gains while getting hit like a pinball. No, the offensive line's a problem, and whoever the quarterback is going to get beat up behind that line. Now, can you go out and buy a line? That's what Buffalo did when they drafted Josh Allen.
Did. Yes, they did.
Chicago just did it with the inside 3. They went and bought 2 guards in the center. Now, if you want to go do that and do it right, then maybe. But now we get to the division. You tell me how much better they have to get to be a playoff team in that division.
Significantly better, obviously. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Too much of a mountain to climb. That's why I like Atlanta.
Hey,
That mountain's not high.
that's why the Arizona job may be the worst job available, because look at the division that you're in. Everybody won 12 or more games in that division but you. So
Yep.
he's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chain. CBS's NFL Today show on Sundays. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Now, Schwartz is, he's not a lock to stay at DC, right? But you or will he be? Will they kind of demand whoever gets the job needs to keep him?
Well, he's got a year left on his contract, and they don't think there's much wrong with the defense. If he doesn't get the head job there, I think whoever goes is going to be asked to retain him. But here's what Jimmy will do. Jimmy will say to them via his agent, "I'm not signing an extension with you." And that might cause them to get nervous about letting them coach for a year and then be losing them. So he may not say it. He probably has a nice thing going on there, and he's probably getting to the age where his agent's going, it's going to be hard to get a head coaching job. Look how long Spags has done well in Kansas City.
Right.
Never got a job again. And he's got real credentials that are even better than Jimmy's. So
yeah, and Jimmy's got that one little glaring thing next to his name, 0-16. I don't, that lingers out there. It does.
Yeah, it does. I'm a good friend of Jim. He used to be a regular on our show. Very funny guy that you'd never think is funny because he's, first off, all you have to do with him is play heavy metal music and he starts really stomping his foot and having a good time.
I'd love the guy who's now coaching the Atlanta WNBA team was FGCU's women's basketball coach for years. And David was good friends with him. We were both friends with him. He and I went to a few concerts together. And he was a metalhead, coaching women's basketball. They don't even know what heavy metal is. And we'd have a ball every time I'd get him on talking heavy metal on the show. He loved it. Didn't want to talk basketball. We start talking heavy metal. His ears perked up. He leaned forward and got into it.
Yep. That's who Schwartz is. He's a riot. But, if they were smart, they'd just give him the head coaching job.
Really? Okay.
And give him a 3-year deal. He'll sign anything. And see if and then you're not worrying about that side of the ball and Miles because Miles can get grumpy pretty quick. I would be intrigued by doing that because if they bring in a guy that's brand new kid or something, There's not the good guys don't want that job. It's just going to be 2 years and fire the guy. Just let him do it. Actually, he might clean it up enough that it became a really good job.
It's funny you say that because I was playing golf with my group of golfers. The one guy had a buddy down who's a Browns fan, and I was talking to the other guy, and he just kind of jumped in. I'd never met him, and I mean, this guy ripped that, and he was a pretty smart guy. I think he's been pretty successful in life based on the fact I know his friend has. And he started talking about the Haslams, and I mean, I couldn't believe the things that, and it wasn't as a fan. He was talking as he didn't even bring up the football team. He was just bringing up the Haslams as people. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well,
I heard things I'd never heard before.
Well, yeah, everyone knows Jimmy Haslam his father took the Flying J away from him. That was the best. The gas, all that sleazy stuff. The Haslams are a goofy group, and I think Mrs. Haslam's, part of it. But talk to Kevin Stefanski. He's doing great. He's making a world tour.
Yes, he is.
He's getting a head job, isn't he?
I believe so. I think once, and John, people said, how come John's not going out for interviews?
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to go at any. He's going to be going to say, if you want me, just offer me the deal, and here's my GM. That's how that's going to go. But I think John is making sure he knows which roster and which situation's the best, and his agent's probably helping him do that. These coaches, you'd be amazed, and Cowher is a great example. When they are on the inside coaching, they don't know the league. They know who they're playing next. That's what they know. And Bill used to say to me all the time, he goes, I cannot believe how little I knew about the league outside of who we play.
Yeah, they probably know the division, reasonably well, but the rest, why would they?
Yeah, and even when it comes to what are the good assistants out there, if John is thinking, I got to go find guys, what I've already heard is Kevin has got a nice staff proposal with him.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan from NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat and all our guests are on the American Paint Supplies hotline. Pat's appearances are sponsored by Pinchers. From Tampa to Key West and over a dozen locations in between, Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. All right, 6 games, wild card weekend. Let's get into it. The first one tomorrow is, the biggest mismatch on the board, right? Carolina hosting the Rams. Carolina beat the Rams in Carolina about a month or so ago. Rams a big favorite. Listen, we saw the 7-win Seahawks beat the 11-win Saints 15 years ago, and the Saints were the defending Super Bowl champions. So this thing has happened before, but how much of a shot do you give Carolina?
None. And I hate to say it that way. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but I think the loss to Carolina is the biggest reason I think they're going to get destroyed. I think the wake-up call from that game for the Rams is going to be significant, to say the least. They're good in so many areas, and just talking to Jake Delhomme yesterday, he recognizes the power of the Rams, and he's with the Panthers all the time. So if I'll ask you, David, I said, I'll give you Carolina and 14 points. Would you take it?
Well, he took the 10.5 earlier, so yes, he would.
Oh, good. I wouldn't. So I can go through all of it. A couple things about the Rams that are a little nerve-wracking. Their road record is not great at 5-4. Talked to Tyler Higbee yesterday. When he played, they were 4-1, so he didn't see the road as a problem when he was on the field. They're going to see a lot of two-shell, and they're going to see covering Devontae, who had 2 touchdowns the first time. Delhomme was he kept pounding the reality that the Rams will be able to run on these guys because they're going to have to be in a 2-deep shell because of the receivers.
All right, Packers and Bears. We've all had our apprehensions about Love. Caleb's gotten better, but it's his first playoff game. It's Ben's first playoff game as a head coach. When you look at it, what do you see?
I see the Bears at home running the ball 35, 40 times. And for a lot of reasons. You don't have to deal with Love as much. And I do think that it'll be very effective running the ball. I've gone back and forth on this game. It's easy to take the Packers, but I'm not going to do it. I am going to take the Chicago Bears. They're 3-2 against playoff teams. And interestingly enough, the Green Bay Packers, not only on a 4-game losing streak, they're 2-4 against teams in the playoffs. I will take the Bears at home and keep the dream alive.
All right. The CBS game, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Nance and Romo in Jacksonville. Hello. A virtual pick'em. Josh Allen and the Bills taking on the Red Hot Jags.
Yeah, the Jags are hot. Lagerman, I talked to him. There's a couple things going on with that one. The new Trevor is a runner. And I don't think he's the same runner as Josh Allen, but he's an effective runner. Between these two quarterbacks, they have 46 first downs rushing and 23 rushing touchdowns. If Trevor is willing to and effectively run as much as Josh Allen, they could win this game. But they need that dimension to beat these guys. Josh Allen, we know, will come to the table and do that. He's already played in 13 postseason games. And he is averaging, I think, David, correct me on this if I'm wrong, the most passing yards in the postseason, yards per game. I think it's 311. So I will take the Buffalo Bills on the road.
All right, Niners and Eagles. I would take the Niners if they were healthier. I made the statement yesterday, if rosters were equal, I'd take Purdy before Hurts. But the rosters aren't equal. Philly has the pedigree in the postseason. So does San Francisco to a degree. But I like Philly at home. What do you think, Pat?
I like Philly at home, too. I think they're getting ready to be, and they're starting to move towards the old formula. I don't know who Jalen Hurts really is. I don't know. Is he a malcontent? Is he a guy that's on his own? Is he alienated in the locker room? I don't know that. But I know this. If he starts running more and back to the way he was, I think they're a more effective football team doing that. So I do like him at home. I do think that they're a team. They've rested a lot of guys. They're getting Nakobe Dean, Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter. I think the two tackles, the Georgia kids inside, are going to slow down the run game of our friend McCaffrey. He will become more of a receiver. I would not be surprised if McCaffrey has more receiving yards than rushing yards in this game. I will take the Eagles at home.
All right. Leaves us with Sunday night. Would have been nice if I had the game up ahead of me.
Chargers and Patriots.
There you go.
Chargers at New England. Well, I think it's a bit of a toss-up game personally, but I will take New England in this game. And both defenses are good. That's the first thing. But I like New England's defense the most of the two. I do think that Justin Herbert is a terrific football player and has not won in the postseason yet. Drake May's never played in the postseason before. There's going to be two quarterbacks that are kind of working their way through what this is all about. But I think the New England Patriots, maybe because of the coach, and I love Jim Harbaugh as a coach and the leader, but I'll go with Mike Vrabel in this one. I don't know about giving away points, though. I think it was at 3.5 the last time I looked.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that half point's a killer. I think it's a close game and a field goal wins it at the end. I'll take the Patriots.
Speaking of the Patriots, though, and I know Patriot fans are sick of hearing this, but they didn't play anybody ultimately at the end of the year.
Correct.
So everybody they play in the playoffs is basically as good or better than anybody they've played. So do we really know how good they are?
No, we don't. We do not know that. And they only played 4 games against playoff teams. That's the lowest number of any team in the playoffs. Example, the Jacksonville Jaguars played 8 games against the teams that are left in the playoffs. No one's played less than the Patriots with 4. So that point's well taken. But what bothers me is Justin Herbert's 32 sacks in his last 8 games. You can do the math on that. 4 sacks a game, and he's on the road. I think they get to him, bang him around a bit. That's why I'm doing it.
I think Monday is the last we'll see of Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know how they win against this defense, Pat. Houston's playing really well. They have playoff experience. No one seems to remember that or talk about that. But, Pittsburgh, obviously they're the Steelers. I know you have affinity for how Tomlin runs his team, but I think they're outmatched, Pat.
This is a bad matchup for the Steelers with those two pass rushers. Did you hear Jeff Lageman yesterday? Mark, I know you listened. Did you hear what he said? My favorite quote of the week. Jeff Lageman, the Pittsburgh Steelers will not score a point in this game. Now, they do have 11 games that they gave up under 20 points. They are giving up 16 points a game. And I will say this, the Houston offense is not good. We know that. But they're a little better right now. And Stroud is starting to play a little bit better than he was playing. How many points does he have to score to win this game? David, I think 17 points could win it.
I was going to say, I think this is a game from a generation ago where 17 is the magic number. Texans have won 9 straight. 9.
After Metcalf missing those 2 games because of stupidity, if Pittsburgh's going to win, he's going to have to be a monster.
Yes. And I think he's going to try to be one, and we'll see. I think the three of us watch enough of the Steelers to know this. When Rodgers feels the pressure and he determines quickly that my line can't block these guys, he's in trouble. He can't run and escape anymore, and he wants to dump the ball as fast as he can, and sometimes to invisible receivers. I think it's going to be hard on Aaron to deal with what's coming at him from this defense.
Well, we had Brady's swan song against the Cowboys a few years ago in the Monday wildcard game. We could have the same with Aaron Rodgers Monday night. He's Pat Kirwan. Listen to him 3 to 7 weekdays. Tomorrow it'll be 1 to 4 on NFL radio with Moving the Chains. And Sundays he's in New York with the CBS crew and the NFL Today Show. Pat's brought to us by Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. Pat, safe travels. Thanks so much. Miller and Moulton.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Canada relief. Josh McDaniels is not leaving New England unless somebody offers him a head coaching job. And since he's failed at 2 previous stops, I don't think he'll ever get offered a head coaching job again. Larry, my understanding is both schools get around 20,000 tickets to do with as they wish, and the rest is for sale to the public. That's after, I think, the college football playoff committee takes care of the people they have to take care of and sponsors and what have you. Larry, that's if they can get in. Also, you have to remember Hard Rock's not a big stadium. No, DC. I don't believe so. He did in 2007, he did the LSU Ohio State game on the radio nationally. And I think he went. Well, I know he went. I don't know if he was invited or he went on his own and got a credential or what have you, but he was on the sidelines for Florida, Oklahoma in 2008. I don't think he's been to another natty since. But he might be, but I don't think he'll be invited by, the playoff committee or anything. Would have to be someone else.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Just like yesterday when our poll question was, who you picking, Miami or Ole Miss? Our poll question today, who you got, Indiana or Oregon? Roughly 2/3 of you picking the Hoosiers. We'll get back to the games in a moment. Now we're going to talk about where are some of these games airing. Kurt Badenhausen. He covers sports business for Sportico. You can follow Kurt on X at the letter K, Badenhausen, Badenhausen. Kurt, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, guys. Doing well.
Can you, I'll just throw this in underhanded and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Can you explain to the average sports fan what happened yesterday concerning, as we know it, the FanDuel Sports Network and Major League Baseball?
Yeah. So technically, what ultimately happened yesterday is the 9 Major League Baseball teams who have their games on the FanDuel networks basically terminated their agreements. So it's at this point, it's somewhat of a legal situation where they don't want to be caught holding the ball, really, if this turns into another bankruptcy situation like they had over the previous few years. And And so this situation gives these teams some flexibility, depending what happens with Main Street, which owns these networks. So the reason being that, again, Major League Baseball has taken over some of the rights already for some of these teams that opted out of their FanDuel agreements. And so Major League Baseball has their own streaming service that has this. They've tried to do then over-the-air local deals. So this just gives those 9 teams some optionality as the season. We're 3 months out from the start of the season. It's coming up fast.
All right. Obviously, the baseball teams have opted out, but these networks control a lot of NBA and NHL. Is there anything that you see that could happen to any of those agreements between now and the ends of their regular season?
Yeah, I mean, right now everybody seems to be operating on the NBA and NHL side. Like, these are going to stay in place through the end of the regular season. And then those deals are basically going to go away. This has been a mess for 5 years now, with the cord cutting, just creating shrinking subscriber bases, and the economics just not working. So there's been lots of redone deals where 8 teams have had to take reduced fees. But this has been messy. And this is an unfortunate situation because everybody thought once Main Street came out of bankruptcy, redid their deals with existing teams. Almost everybody took a haircut outside of the Atlanta Braves, that there was going to be some stability going into this season. And here, FanDuel stopped making payments, starting with the Cardinals. Now sounds like the Miami Marlins missed a payment, and some other teams. So that's why they're opting out right now, just to give them some flexibility.
Kurt Badenhausen covers sports business for Sportico. You can follow Kurt on X, the letter K, Badenhausen, Badenhausen. How much money do these 9 teams get from FanDuel Sports Network, or whatever we're calling them? How much money are these teams potentially losing if this company goes belly up, which it looks like it's going to do here quickly?
Well, everybody has their own deal. You're talking about a range of about starting at maybe $20 million. And then if you look at the Atlanta Braves, they've got the biggest deal, and they're pulling in more than $100 million a year. So for Major League Baseball, I mean, this is a big deal. Listen, basketball, hockey, they have their own deals, but particularly the NBA, which has the new big national rights deal, the NBA is moving more towards the NFL model, where you get a huge check from the league office, and your local business becomes less critical. But when you talk about baseball, a lot of these RSNs were built on the back of Major League Baseball, because you got 162 games. It's 7 straight months of programming every single night. And so those when you look at Major League Baseball teams, at one point it was about 25% of total revenue with their local TV deal. So again, that's come down because a lot of these deals have been reduced over the years, but that's a big hole that you got to fill on your income statement. And so you can definitely tie those together with some of the teams slow playing, the free agency this winter with not a lot of deals getting done, because teams don't know what their revenue is going to be in 2026, because they don't know what their TV money is.
All right. Fubu's talking about buying this. Where are we with that? Is that the savior?
Well, maybe short term, but long term, these are all going away. That's the reality. Outside of when you look at these RSNs under Main Street or whatever name they come up with next, this model isn't working. The Yes Network, Nesson, they're not going away. The Cubs Marquee Network, those still have a big enough revenue base. But yeah, DAZN was rumored and certainly looking at this. DAZN is burning cash as it is right now. So, but it's funded by an Uber billionaire. So, is DAZN the answer, Fubu? Short term, maybe, and maybe they figure out a way to get it work. But the situation's not changing. With fewer people are paying for cable TV, and the distributors increasingly want to push this to a premium tier, and because they have trouble making the economics work, because these sports channels are the most expensive things on their platform, and it's only servicing a very small percentage of people. Are actually tuning, the number of people that are tuning into Marlins games in South Florida that subscribe to cable is a fraction of people that are paying their bill. So you've got everybody sharing the cost for having, say, Marlins games in South Florida, when there's, in reality, only a small percentage of people are actually watching the games.
We're talking about the Marlins, the Rays, the Braves, the Reds, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Tigers, the Royals, and the Angels, who yesterday terminated their agreements with the regional sports company that's been broadcasting their games. Is this going to be like Major League Baseball is going to take over like they did, what was it, the Twins and a couple of other teams in the last 2 years, the Padres, the Texas Rangers? I mean, or are these teams probably going to go to an over-the-air station in this market like the Phoenix Suns did a couple of years ago? Their games are on a local affiliate. I mean, what's the most realistic option in 10 weeks, really, till the season begins?
Yeah, well, everything's still on the table. They can still go back to Main Street, and these RSNs can still operate through the season if the RSNs are going to make their payments, or if they agree to reduce payments. But yeah, the alternative is Major League Baseball has a streaming service that is there right now distributing games, and ultimately that's what Major League Baseball wants. They want all 30 teams under this umbrella. The problem is teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Cubs they don't want to relinquish their local rights when it comes to streaming. But there is a scenario where these 9 teams, the fallback option is there's the streaming option, and then you figure out an over-the-air partner so that more people can get access to games. And that typically, there are rights fees in those deals, and you reach a broader audience because it's not sitting behind some tiered cable package. You're reaching a broader audience, but again, the economics in those deals that have been done so far, you named a few of them that Major League Baseball controls, those are in every single case dramatically less smaller rights fee than what teams were getting from the RSN.
So long term, how do these teams, there's such a gap in what teams are spending in baseball, and now you're taking away a prime revenue source from these teams. How are they able to compete going forward with Mets, Yankees, Cubs, Dodgers?
Well, that's the problem, right? That's the problem facing the sport right now. They're barreling towards this three-pronged problem in baseball, where you have the labor agreement expiring this year. You've got to figure out how to distribute broadcast rights with RSN, with so many people wanting to get out of the RSN business. And then the revenue disparity that is only getting bigger. Now, the revenue sharing formula helps clean that up a little bit, because the big market teams are now just going to have to funnel more and more money to the small market teams, but they don't like that situation, particularly because you've got this weird inverse situation going on here, where the top teams are funneling more money in revenue sharing down the line, but they're also spending a ton of money on payroll. So you've got the teams at the top, Phillies, Mets, Giants, they're all losing money. But then you got the teams at the bottom of the financial table, like the Pirates, like the A's. These teams are making money because they're getting so much in revenue sharing and the league's distribution for national TV and sponsorship deals, and they're not spending money on payroll. So it's a wild situation in baseball right now. And again, a lot of people look at baseball, and if they can figure out a way to navigate this messiness, the product on the field is getting rave reviews, but the economics right now stink in the sport.
Kurt Badenhausen, Sportico. Follow Kurt on X, the letter K, Badenhausen, Badenhausen. Kurt, thanks so much, because obviously in this state, Marlins, Rays, and never mind the fact we got a lot of fans from all over the country. So it's going to be an interesting baseball season before the lockout, that's for sure. Kurt, thanks so much. Safe travels.
Thanks, guys. Be well.
Kurt Badenhausen of Sportico, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton.
And he talked about it. We've talked about it for a couple of years.
Yes.
I mean, when David just said at the end, lockout, it's coming.
Yeah.
And you could hear it from what Kurt was saying. You know, the big boys aren't going to give in to Major League Baseball because they're still making money with their networks that they own. The others are not. And there's such a disparity and such confusion and complications between the owners themselves, as we've been mentioning for the longest time. Before they can deal with the players and try to get a new CBA, they have to come to an agreement. And they're not close.
There are people in the sport that think there won't be baseball next year.
And that would be tragic. Coming off of not a good World Series, a great World Series. Not a good playoff, a great playoff.
Oh, and the year before, the Yankees and Dodgers were in the World Series. Right.
And TV ratings like they've not seen in a generation in the sport.
Right. And with young, very marketable stars, not just in the U.S., but overseas. Yeah, it would be awful. And the sport survived it once. Can it survive it a second time? Don't know. We go out of sight, out of mind very quickly in this country. And we can move on quickly. But yeah, the business of baseball is a mess. The product, entertaining. Even if there's too many strikeouts and too few balls in play. But entertaining.
And people are watching live sports. That's a fact. Now, you know, David and I love hockey. We talked about this a bit yesterday. But I will say with all of this, yeah, hockey gets revenue from this. But hockey gets the majority of their revenue from the gate.
Isn't it like 65%? I mean, it's a big number.
It's big. I don't know if it's that big, but I think you're in the ballpark. But, you know, basketball's got their national deal. Hockey gets a lot of revenue from the gate. Who's this going to affect? Baseball. Baseball. And the owners are miles apart on trying to figure this out.
So we wanted to cover that story. We know it's a football Friday and Miami winning to play for the national championship, Indiana, Oregon tonight, the NFL wildcard games. But this happened yesterday. It's a BFD, and there's no resolution in sight. And you could have 9 teams just flailing to get their games on the air this year, and 9 teams financially really suffering because of it. Miller and Moulton, the bonus hours next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This was coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, EB, what's going to cause the problem for the players is that the commissioner's talking about a salary cap. That's non-negotiable with the players. It's a waste of time. So, but here's the funny thing, EB. The owners can't agree on the salary cap. Convince the Yankees. What interest is it in the Yankees to have a salary cap? And by the way, what's the cap?
And the problem is not the player's perspective. It's that the owners are so far apart. Because even if the Yankees, Phillies, Mets, Dodgers all wanted a salary cap and could convince the players for a salary cap, they need a salary floor. And then you have to get the Rays, Marlins, Pirates, et cetera, to spend at the floor. And we've had, when David Sampson was on, he thinks the floor needs to be like 150. Go look up the salaries and see who's spending under that number. It's half the league.
Also, let's just say you come up with a cap and the cap's, I don't know, 260, and you got 6 teams spending over that. Do you have to get down to 260 immediately? Does this go in over 3 years, 5 years? I mean, think about it. The Dodgers payroll, the Mets payroll,
and the length of these contracts that they already have.
Right. I mean, just look at the Ohtani deal by itself of what he's getting. The Soto contract.
Right.
I mean, these contracts were made never thinking there was going to be a salary cap. Are you going to do a cap the way the NHL does it, which is a hard cap to the dollar? You going to do it the way the NFL and the NBA do it?
Got to tell you, had to deal with Progressive because of that car accident that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
They have been amazing. Amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. I mean, so much so that I would think about changing to them amazing.
Wow. That's great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of the show on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And it's the final hour of our week. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Did you put up that second poll question about the Dolphins or no?
I did not.
Okay.
Maybe we'll save
good.
it for Monday.
There you go. So our one and only poll question today is who you got tonight. Indiana, Oregon. Indiana favored by 3.5. We're not asking you to take the point spread into consideration. We're just asking you, who do you think's going to win? Hoosiers or Ducks? The only loss between the two teams this year was Indiana beating Oregon. By the way, think about
3% of you picking Indiana.
Think about it if you're Oregon, by the way. It is possible that they only lose 3 games, technically, to 2 teams in a 2-year period of time. They were unbeaten last year when they lost to Ohio State, who went on to win it all. And let's just say they lose to Indiana again, and Indiana goes on to win it all. If you're Oregon, you're like, I'll be damned. Only 2 teams have beaten us. It's 2 teams that won the whole damn thing.
For the record, if Indiana wins, Miller and Moulton had a little fun earlier when we guessed what the spread will be. David says Indiana will be a 4-point favorite over Miami. I say it'll be 2.5. I think Miami and Oregon will be closer to a pick 'em. David thinks Oregon will be favored by 2.5. For what it's worth, we'll see. Obviously, tomorrow the spread will be out, or probably around midnight tonight. I got to say, you and I were 2 of the only people in the country in the last, 5-10 years that complained about the length of college football games.
Yes, we were. Us and Chris Fowler. There's only 3 people in the country in the last 5 years who complained about the length of games. Miller, Moulton, and Chris Fowler. That's it.
And last night was a long game.
Yes.
It was. I mean, that sucker didn't get over with until about 11:30, and it kicked pretty close to 7:30.
Yeah, it did.
In fact, I know that because we went out to get a bite to eat last night, and a place we go to all the time, and for whatever reason, they just took a little longer waiting on us than normal. And I looked up at the television and saw how long it was to kick, and dinner was coming, and I told the waitress, I handed her my credit card. I said, bring 3 boxes when you bring dinner. And my wife looked at me and said, I ain't missing any of this. I don't know what to tell you. We can eat at the table at home. So we took our tacos and brought them home.
So when you want to look at her and said, listen, I love you madly. You're my soulmate. I give everything I have to you. It's been 23 years since these guys have played in a game like this. That was 10 years before I met you, okay?
Well, and I just simply said, I said, look, this has been one of the best college football seasons that I can remember, and there's only 3 of these suckers left, and I ain't missing a minute of it. Not a minute. But raced home to watch that, and I never once complained about how long the game was last night, David. Not once. It never occurred to me. I shouldn't say it never occurred to me. It did occur to me. In the 4th quarter, when my eyes were getting heavy on the couch because it had been a particularly long day, I'm like, man, it's late. And I may even watch a little post game. This is so good.
IU and Oregon. By the way, a story that went national yesterday. So Troy Aikman gave money to UCLA, and it turns out he didn't name the player by name, but it's not too hard to figure out who it was. It was Dante Moore, who started at UCLA, stayed a year or so, and then went to Oregon. And Troy said to the UCLA folks, yeah, I ain't giving you money if this is how it's going to work. To a guy that no. Mm-mm. Well, it influenced Joe Buck, who is on the bandwagon, by the way. I don't know how many IU football games he went to when he was there. I don't know how many IU football games he's been to in the last 25 years. I know he went to 2 of them last year, and he ain't missing a game that's on television this year. He talks about it all the time. He's in. He's got the fever. I mean, he even said it nationally before the Alabama game. We were doing whatever game it was, and he turned to Troy and said live on the air, so is this how it feels? Is this what it's like? Troy said, well, I don't know. It's been a while for my alma mater, but yeah, this is what it's like. Joe's like, I'll be damned. Never felt this before. But Joe Buck politely said to Indiana, no, I'll sit this NIL world out. Now, maybe he'll change his mind, but for now, because of Troy's experience, he's sitting out.
And you wonder if there are others that are going to be doing the same. David, you didn't answer your own question yesterday. You may have, and this wasn't an on-air question. But Miller and Moulton communicated yesterday. We don't talk after shows. There's a chance that David and I on a Friday will not talk or text to one another until Monday morning before the show most weeks. Now, last night we had a little fun at our old producer's expense, and my goodness, was it glorious.
Oh, my goodness.
But we texted during the day and into the game and during the game a little bit. But part of the texting was when the Washington quarterback who went into the portal was then fired by his agent and then announced he was going to return to Washington. And I had texted you the news. And you simply asked me, if you were Washington, would you want him back? And I said, yeah. I said it was a day, maybe somebody in his family got to him and slapped him around a little bit verbally. Verbally, you can't slap your kids anymore. I mean, as much as we'd like to, sometimes you can't do it. But I would. I chalked it up to youth, the wrong person telling him what he should be doing, and he corrected his mistake in a short time. Would you take him back if it was Washington? Because I didn't bother to ask you. You asked me, I answered, and we moved on to something else. So I'm asking you now on air, if you were the Huskies, would you want this young man back?
Well, you know me pretty well. What's my initial gut reaction?
You're dead to me?
Yep. It sure is.
And
now, and that's
David, while I get that with friends, coworkers, acquaintances, all of those things.
Yep.
And I certainly get it with the guy that I met over 20 years ago. But now, because
I know,
because this is a young man. In our young days, we do dumb things. And sometimes in our old age, we do dumb things. But we do more dumb things. There's a comedian, a female comedian, that does a bit about in your 20s. Everybody wants to be in their 20s. You really don't want to be in your 20s. You know how dumb you are in your 20s. You know how many mistakes you make. Do you know how little knowledge you have? And her line was, she goes, you're, as a woman, she goes, you're skinny in your 20s. You don't even have a gut to tell you what to do in your 20s. Mm-hmm. So he's a kid. And I know that doesn't fix anything, but he is a young man. So again, I know initially your thought is he's dead to me.
Right. I said initially, and that would have 8 to 12 hours. There's no doubt about it. Here's the reality, though. I got to replace him, and I'm not going to get anybody as good as him. And I've already allocated the money to him. So I probably, because I think he has 2 years of eligibility left, although with the way it's going, hell, he may have 7 years left for all we know. But I'm assuming he's got 2 years of eligibility left. I may have to start planning for a different quarterback in 2027. That he's already shown he's willing to have one step out the door. So we need to prepare accordingly. But so of course I would take him back because I have no other options that are as good. This is what I still want to know, though. By the way, Darren Heitner, who we've had on the show a few times, he sent out a post yesterday afternoon saying he's now representing Damon Williams. I want to know. I don't know if you do, Mark. I don't know if the fans care. I want to know. So was Damon out of his mind and legally he has no right to leave Washington, and that's why he turned around so quickly when somebody pointed out to him, dude, you have no legal standing to leave? Or is it because he signed with a collective, and is that not exactly the Washington Athletic Department that he can get up and leave? Is it like a coach where they have clauses in their deal where they can buy themselves out of the contract? Do players have the same thing? If he agreed to pay $1 million to Washington, is he out? I want to know. I want to know the fine print here. There's got to be a Freedom of Information Act that could find us out the truth here. This is where I'd love for somebody to hold the presser. Charlie Baker, the NCAA, the University of Washington, Darren Heitner. Okay, somebody to hold the presser. Is a signed contract worth anything anymore, or was this kid out of his mind and he had no legal standing to break this contract? I want to know.
And we're digging to try to find out, and we'll have more on this next week, I can assure you, because this is something where David and I have a little ignorance to this subject, because we do. We're sorry. We want to be experts as best we can on as many things as possible, but we simply don't know. This is the Wild West. And, someone on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line just simply says, Mark, he changed his mind because Washington said they were going to sue him for breach of contract. Possibly.
Well, but there's a kid who left Wisconsin who played in the semifinal last night for Miami.
Well, there's a kid that left Georgia that played at Missouri this year that, Georgia's talking about trying to get money back from him. So I don't know. Is there a difference because the schools can now pay you directly and so can the collect? Does it depend on who the contract is signed with?
Right. Does it depend on, certain schools and their collectives are not a part of the school and others are? I don't know. I mean, aren't we all assuming the same thing? It's pay for play and a contract's a contract. I assume the kid's got no legal standing. But notice, Washington and the Big Ten said they were going to fight it. Well, Wisconsin and the Big Ten said they were going to fight it. And the kid played for Miami last night. Miller and Moulton. We'll break down Oregon, Indiana, and the wild card games coming up.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Heitner has a newsletter, and he put one out here a little while ago and doesn't really get into whether basically thinks he could have transferred,
Right.
but didn't think it was the right move for him. He talks about Xavier Lucas. But
That's
the
the kid
one,
on Miami, right?
yeah. But David, this is the line you'll love that he puts in here. He goes, Dan Wetzel captured this contradiction perfectly, he wrote. You can't really have an employment deal if you don't count the player as, wait for it, an employee.
There you go.
And then he goes on to say college sports leaders wasted so much time and money fighting for amateurism and are now stuck.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can subscribe to Heitner's newsletter. Go on. He's got a LinkedIn page, and I get his newsletter every week. It's a good read. So for those of you that are into it, you can check it out. He's a very smart guy. We may even try to get him next week. I'm trying to get his former agent, but Heitner's, when we've had him on, he's been great, and maybe we'll try to get him midweek. I'm guessing he's going to be a little busy. How shortly do you think, Johnny Mac? I know what you're proposing there, but I don't think it's just that quickly. Like you need to go a little deeper there before you think by the end of March, all of a sudden gas is going to be $1.80 a gallon. Well, yeah, I think we can read. Thank you, Canada Relief, for pointing out the obvious. Do you really think one taker is going to change the oil prices in our country within a few weeks? Do you know that has to be refined? And do you know how hard it is to refine the oil that's in Venezuela? Because apparently it's like the thickest crude oil that there is.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when it's all coming up. Hey, you and I both pick Oregon to win a close one tonight. We're idiots. Not just because we picked Oregon. I mean, you know, there's enough evidence over the years that we're idiots. But, Mark, I can't find a stat worth a damn that Oregon's better than Indiana in. All right? Seriously, where do you want to go? Give me fewest penalties a game. Indiana's third in the country. Oregon's 29th. Red zone offense. Indiana's 17th. Oregon's 68th. Red zone defense. Indiana's second. Oregon's 19th. Total defense. Oregon's 6th. Indiana's second. Total offense. Oregon's 14th. Indiana's 7th. Third down percentages. Indiana's number 1 in the country converting third downs. Oregon's 27th. Mark, I just gave you 7 major stats. Indiana's better than Oregon in every single one.
Yep, David, you're right. And you got to the one that I think is the most critical in tonight's game. Because not only is Indiana the best third down conversion team in the country, their defense is the second best at not allowing third down conversions. 28% allowed.
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? They're undefeated. They've won close games on the road. They've won close games on neutral fields. They have kicked the snot out of legitimate top 10, 15, 20 teams in the country. They've got, right now, you going to pick anybody else to coach a team in a game than Kurt Cignetti?
Not as long as Nick's sitting on set.
I mean, what are we doing here? What in the world are we thinking? And Oregon's real. I mean, you know, total defense 2-6, total offense 7-14. Okay, I mean, you know,
David, their pass defense is better and their passing yards are better. Those are the two. Can I hang my hat on that?
Okay, but Indiana runs the ball over 60% of the time.
I know.
I mean, they're the best team in the country. They are. They are. There is nothing you can point to. You can go, oh, well, they were fortunate to beat a 6-6 Penn State. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's a long season.
And it was a road game. And we can't knock Indiana for the same reasons that we give all of these teams, whether they're in the Big Ten or the SEC, credit for the gauntlet of conference play, and then yet not give Indiana credit for the same criteria. No, it's very true, David.
I mean, think about it.
I'm hanging my hat on one damn thing.
The rematch?
Yeah. Georgia, Alabama, SEC championship game. Alabama won the first one. Georgia won the second one. Ole Miss, Georgia. Georgia won the first one. Ole Miss won the second one.
Alabama, Oklahoma.
Alabama lost the first one, went to Oklahoma and beat them. That's it.
But I mean,
that's it. That's what I got.
Here's the other similarities. You know, both Oregon and Indiana went to Penn State, trailed late. Remember, Oregon was trailing in overtime. and won. They were down to 4th down in overtime. Indiana was down to a 4th down in the final 2 minutes at Penn State. They both went to Iowa. Indiana was tied mid 4th quarter. I think it was earlier 4th quarter. They were tied. They caught Iowa in a blitz. They scored. They won by 5. All right. Oregon had a late lead. Iowa took the lead. Dante Moore with a Heisman-like drive let them down for the game-winning field goal. So they both went to Iowa, won close. They both went to Penn State and won close. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. Oregon's really good in just about every stat that I mentioned. Indiana's just a little better.
They are. And I guess I don't believe that Indiana is going to get after more the way they did in the first game. I don't. I have given all the accolades I can to Cignetti throughout this year. And we don't talk a lot of Oregon football because they're not close to us and nobody, quite frankly, gives a damn. But Dan Lanning's done an amazing job there. He can coach. Like, yeah. I think Cignetti's the better coach, but I certainly don't think there's a canyon between the two.
No, but, Indiana's the 3.5-point favorite. Yeah, they're better. They're a little bit better. A little bit more well-rounded.
And the other side of this part of it, David, you know what probably the reason is more than anything? And I know you can relate to this. I'm stubborn to a fault. When the bracket came out, I picked Oregon, and damn it, I'm sticking with my picks.
Yeah, same here.
Say if I'm wrong, so be it. I'm sticking with my guns.
But do you know what I think has to happen? Oregon's got to be +1 in turnovers, and the turnover has to result in points. Indiana was +1 in turnovers in the first matchup, although Oregon's turnover was a pick 6. But I just think if you look at this, you're looking at it going, man, Oregon can play with them. Oregon can probably play within a touchdown. But how are they going to find those points? How are they going to find the 4, 5, 6, 7 points that when you look on paper, you go, yeah, Indiana's 4 to 7 points better. Where do they find the touchdown?
I do think something that didn't end up impacting Miami last night has to work in Oregon's favor tonight. And that's like the first four thing that everybody talks about. Last night Miami had a chance late in the first half to really put a dagger in Ole Miss when they got the ball back late in the first half. They went 3 and out. And Ole Miss came down and got that field goal. And then I was like, okay, fine. Miami starts the second half with the ball. What happened? Nothing. If the same situation is presented for Oregon tonight, they can't come up empty when you get an opportunity for a big advantage. I'm with you on the turnovers, but the other side is they've got to win the little battle. They've got to win the end of the first half, the beginning of the second. And if it works out where they get the opening kick and they're not getting in the second half, they can't lose that battle at the end of the half, beginning of the second.
By the way, one of the stats that I gave, Indiana, fewest penalties that committed per game. They're 3rd in the country. They committed 8 penalties against Oregon. There was a lot. That game took a long time because there were like 20 flags thrown in that game, 15 accepted. All right. So my guess is this game, they'll let them play a lot more than they let them play the second weekend in October in Eugene. Hope so. Neither team ran the ball worth a damn. Indiana had 111 yards rushing on 37 rushes. That's 3 yards a rush. Oregon only ran for 81 yards. But if you took the sacks out of the equation, they actually ran for 5 yards a carry. But they only ran the ball 21 times. You throw in the 6 sacks, and they've got bad rushing numbers.
Will any of them have any trickery that will work? I don't know how it works against Indiana because they're so sound defensively.
I know. Special teams, the area of the game we don't talk about much anymore. Does Oregon have to steal a score or a big return that sets up a score? Does something have to happen, which has not happened against Indiana all year?
No, it happened last year in the Notre Dame game. Didn't happen, or in the Ohio State game, rather. But it didn't happen this year.
So Indiana, 3.5-point favorite, and all the numbers say take the Hoosiers.
And Miller and Moulton are looking at the numbers and saying, oh, yeah? We're still dumb enough to take Oregon. Good, bad, and ugly. It's next. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com, CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Is it like $3,000 to get in the Hard Rock right now to see the national title game?
Yes.
Yeah, Logic, man, it has been. Good for you guys.
David, the best price right now is end zone seats in the 300s for $3,000 a ticket. Lower bowl tickets, as best I can see right now, the cheapest lower bowl ticket is $5,444 for a ticket. No, that's in the 200, so I think that's club level, which would be pretty nice. Lower bowl in the end zone, $59.28. I don't know how long it's going to be before I lobby my buddy, but probably later today I'll text him and say, you know, I'm available if he wants to finally take me to a game on the 19th.
You have a terrible towel, don't you?
David, we could use them in every bathroom as hand towels if we wanted. David, there was one placed on my daughter in the hospital. Do I have a terrible towel?
Did you guys?
The part is that my wife makes me take one to the game, and I use it as a napkin. I've never waved it once in my life. I have my Permane brothers. I look at her and I wipe my mouth with it. I'm going, man, this is great.
By the way, did you end up doing okay ticket wise or no?
We haven't. We ended up selling the Ravens tickets for less than face value, but we got our money back in a couple $100. We break even, make a little bit. Usually we break even and go to a game or two. This year we probably made $300-400, which is fine. That's all we're looking to do.
Any demand for the playoff tickets?
I haven't asked my wife yet. I know we put them up. She just does whatever they suggest, which was like $340 a ticket.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until we're done for the week. Thanks for being with us. By the way, I think we've already done it, but officially, we've got this season-long contest picking winners. So I have to make sure that I know it. On NFL games, we're both picking the Rams. You're picking the Bears. I'm picking the Packers. You're picking the Bills. I'm picking the Jags.
That's it.
And then we're picking Philly, New England, and Houston.
Yeah.
So
and I think you're up 2 on me.
3. I was
Three,
up
okay.
2 and gained 1 last week, so
Yep,
I'm up
you're right.
3 heading into the playoffs. So, all right, there you go. Just wanted to make that official.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1493, and I did this for one David Moulton. They're his favorite creature on earth because he describes himself as one. It was today in 1493 that Christopher Columbus mistakes manatees for mermaids, describing them as, and I quote, not half as beautiful as they are painted.
Well, how in the world? I mean, who was drawing up those mermaids for you? Back in the home country that you thought a manatee was a mermaid. My goodness.
I want to know what he was drinking on the boat. I mean, anybody that's ever heard Go Ugly Early. 1861. A Union merchant ship, the Star of the West, is fired upon by cadets from the South Carolina Military Academy, considered to be the first shots fired in the Civil War. Today in 1947, Providence Steamrollers. By the way, isn't that a great name for a team?
Yes.
Providence Steamrollers. Guard Dino Martin becomes the first NBA player to ever score 40 points in a game. He did so against the Cleveland Rebels in a 91-68 win. One of my favorite all-time stats happened today in 1958. Cincinnati whooped up on Seton Hall. Final score was 116-54. Turns out Cincinnati didn't need any of their other players because Oscar Robinson outscored Seton Hall by himself. Seton Hall had 54. The Big O had 56.
He's pretty good.
Rawhide, starring Clint Eastwood, premiered on CBS today in 1959. It was today in 1962 that the NFL decided that they would prohibit grabbing of face masks. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the Bucks today in 72 led the Bucks to beat the Lakers. ending the Lakers' consecutive win streak at 33.
There was a guy who would become a Laker in a couple years. You know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He had 39 in the game going head-to-head with Wilt. An older Wilt, but Wilt.
Today in 1976, this song was a bit of a crossover song, and it was god-awful. But it was number one on the country charts, and it crossed over into pop music. It was C.W. McCall's Convoy. Yes, CBs were a big deal back then.
Man, the drugs that we did in America in the mid to late 70s is staggering, the amount of drugs we did.
David, the Rose Bowl in 77 was played today. The Raiders beat the Vikings 32-14. Your MVP, Fred Biletnikoff.
You mean the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl, sorry.
Yeah, that was Madden's only Super Bowl win right there. And that was the last of the 4 Super Bowl losses for the Vikings, who have yet to be back.
Today in 79, the Bruins retired number 4. You know, Bobby Orr. Van Halen released their most successful album, not their best album, but their most successful album today in 1984. Guess what it was titled? 1984. I know you'd probably go VH1 for your favorite Van Halen album, and it's hard to argue with all of the songs on it. It really is. Probably their best. I have a soft spot for Fair Warning. It rocks. It's just amazing to me.
Oh, their first 5 albums were just, excuse my French, I don't talk this way. They were kick-ass.
Sorry, Mom Moulton. Today in 91, baseball officially bans Pete Rose from being elected into the Hall of Fame. Today in 01, Apple launches iTunes. Kind of changed the way that we consumed media.
Yeah, kind of.
Today in 06, Phantom of the Opera becomes the longest-running Broadway show when it hits its 7,486th performance at the Majestic Theater, breaking the record held by Cats. Today in 07, this guy named Steve Jobs unveiled this thing called the iPhone.
Oh, boy, whatever became of that.
2012, at the Superdome, Alabama blanks LSU for the Natty, 21 spit.
I believe LSU didn't get across midfield till mid-4th.
2017 at Ray J, Clemson beats Alabama 35-31. What a game. And today in 2023, the most lopsided natty, Georgia destroyed TCU 65-7. How the hell did TCU beat Michigan?
Well, because they weren't
able to steal signals.
Well, no, they knew and they decoded it.
Yeah, that's right. They stole the signals and TCU knew.
Right.
Sometimes cheaters never win, but Michigan proved that they actually do. Richard Nixon, Bart Starr, Bob Denver, Gilligan, and David Johansen, also known as Buster Poindexter, singer of the New York Dolls, would have all celebrated birthdays today. Joan Baez is 85. Jimmy Page is 82. Listen to some Zeppelin today. It's good for you. Crystal Gale is 75. Hockey coach and now commentator Bruce Boudreau is 71. Get him some gum. Mark Martin and Otis Nixon are 67. Muggsy Bogues, 61. Dave Matthews is 59. Ocho Cinco is 48. Sergio Garcia, 46. And Princess Kate is 44. Miss anything there, David?
No. Good job.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, I got a cow.
Excuse me?
A cow. We go to Rhode Island, where a cow wandered out onto a frozen pond. And wait for it, fell through the ice. But the Brock Island Fire Department was on the rescue, and they were able to rescue the cow and get it back to dry land. For the bad, we go to Cape Coral. Our buddies from the Cape Coral Police Department arrested Nicholas Tolner after a series of thefts at the Home Depot. He took all kinds of stuff and paid without exiting the store. He was also linked to 3 prior price switching incidents where he altered item prices by scanning lower price tags at self-checkout registers. And finally, the ugly. This is something, by the way. Got to see where we are here again. Well, we go to Target for the ugly, where a TikToker by the name of Stephen Harmon entered a Target store on horseback and then made a trip through the Target on the horse. While doing the lap on the horse, you'll never guess what the horse did.
Went all horse?
All over the place. The video, which was shared on X, you can see the Target employee going, "What are you doing? Get out of the store with a horse." The horse and the rider were escorted out by security. No word on who had to clean up the mess. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 9th, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, other jobs available. Great pay, great benefits. For all information, go to capecops.com. capecops.com.
Not much going on tonight besides the national championship semifinal between Indiana and Oregon. NBA's got 10 games, none of them nationally televised. Magic are hosting the Sixers. NHL's only got 3 games. None of them nationally televised unless you count NHL Network. Same thing with NBA TV. There are no college basketball games today or tonight involving a ranked team. Mark, the point spreads aren't out for tomorrow's games, but there are 9 ranked teams on the road facing unranked teams. Now, a few of them you and I can look at right now and realize that the home unranked team is going to be favored. But on paper, before we see the point spreads, 9 potential system plays. My guess is we'll have 5 or 6 of them. And we are 15-10, 60% on the year using our college basketball system.
None on Sunday, for the record. There's a ranked matchup at noon, Illinois and Iowa. But no potential system plays on Sunday. Like David said, 5 or 6 probably tomorrow.
The NFL playoff format is 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then Monday night. 4:30 and 8 tomorrow. Rams and Carolina at 4:30. Remember, the Bears-Packers is on Amazon. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. It's on Amazon. If you don't have Amazon, make plans accordingly. How happy you think Fox is? They get the early game Saturday. That's the worst time slot. They do get arguably the best time slot, the Sunday 4:30 one. They get Niners-Eagles, which is good. But Fox doesn't get Packers-Bears.
They've got to be honked.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we told you this for a long time. The Bears really rate.
Yes.
The and the Packers do too, but the Bears really get great ratings on television.
So 2 NFC games tomorrow, 4:30 and 8. 1 4:30 and 8 on Sunday. Bills Jags at 1. Niners, Eagles at 4:30. Chargers, Patriots at 8. So ABC gets their Monday Night Football with Texans, Steelers. NBC gets their Sunday Night Football with Chargers, Patriots. Nance and Romo in Jacksonville. I don't think Romo's done a game in Jacksonville since the Bills-Jags playoff game, his rookie year in the booth, the 2017 season.
Will he know who the Jags players are by the third quarter?
Oh, no. He'll be calling them by number. Yeah, no, he'll have no idea. Here's the thing that I'm looking for. Have you noticed the networks lately, when they're televising a Jags game, keep using old aerial shots? And the reason you could tell is the landings are still in them. And the landings haven't been around for a while.
A while. And Fox
has done it. NBC has done it. So now,
does that pick off people in Jacksonville, by the way? It would bother me. If I lived there, that would honk me off.
Totally.
Like,
it shows how cheap they are.
Right.
Yeah. Not going to pay for a blimp. Not going to just take the time to get some aerial shots. Can't rent.
And there are these things called drones now. It's not that hard.
Right. But CBS comes to Jacksonville every year for 25 years for the Florida-Georgia game. They only stopped a couple years ago. CBS should have daytime aerials that don't include the landings, even if they're using those on tape. The key is going to be cloudy all day tomorrow. Not going to be sunny. Going to be cloudy. So you'll be able to tell whether they're using taped aerials or live very quickly.
Have a terrific wild card weekend. Enjoy the semifinal tonight. We'll be back on Monday. David will be in Pittsburgh. Enjoy the football, folks. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit leecountybusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WOW.
This is Miller and Moulton